It's a brand new day, the third day of the week, and we're glad to come your way with the AM show with Benjamin and Bernice. We love you. We're so grateful that every day you choose us. We are because you are. Well, to kickstart your morning, I'll be serving you the news in a bit, and right after that, guess who joins us? Like you know, on a Wednesday morning, political scientist, director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante, is our guest, followed by AM Sports with our very own Murtala Nabila Abdullahi. And then we get into the big stories. Now, I'm sure you followed proceedings from yesterday weaving into today. The National Democratic Congress led a protest yesterday to demand the removal of Governor of Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison. The NDC says the Occupy Bank of Ghana protest is only the beginning of a series of protests to be held in conjunction with civil society groups, political actors, among others, to demand accountability. Well, we'll be getting into those all-important issues this morning as we contemplate them. Our guest, Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament, Tamale Central, Bernard Mona is a social activist. Both of them will be live with us. But also on the show this morning, we'll be hosting Republic Bank. Why? We're talking about their ultra-low interests on CD mortgages. So if you've been wondering about how to manage your mortgage, well, the fairest rates come your way via Republic Bank. We'll be telling you about that. They are proud sponsors of the Love FM Habitat Fair in Kumasi. But being a Wednesday, you know we're going to be serving you AM Business. And courtesy of EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, will come your way with today's installment, where we'll be telling you about how Waylead Company Ghana Limited, a real estate agency, is developing unit home apartments in its alphabet city in Sakumono. And finally, we'll allow you to have your say. Join us with your thoughts on these issues and more. Don't restrict them. You can share any crucial issues of national scope with us right here on the show via the live stream or at the tail end should we activate the phone lines. On that note, settle for the news. Up next. Thank you for staying. Let's get into our first story. And President Akufo-Addo is asking traditional rulers to take a stance against illegal mining in the country. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, reading a speech on behalf of the president at the celebration of the Wala Dumba, urged traditional rulers to use the powers of the chieftaincy institution to drive home the message that the environment is not for sale. Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
There has never been a time in the 15-year history of the reign of the Wala Overlord, now Hussein Sidi Pilepo IV, that his close family members and associates will love the temporary scrapping of the crossing over the cow to clamor the Demba Festival than today. The occupant of the over century-year-old iconic palace for some time has been unwell and appears to be weak, frail, in pain for such an onerous mandatory yearly tax. First daughter of the overlord, Princess Barkisu Fuseni Pielpu, just held her tears and shared her consolation. We are not always happy considering the sea of people always around to see whether he will fail to cross over the cow or not. Apart from that, he is old and unwell and even has mobility challenges. If he was a young man, he would easily jump over the cow, but in this case, he's an old man. He has lots of people under him and they look up to him for survival. And that's why we are crying, but he's so lamented. Now, Hussein Sidi Pilepo IV, however, gathered momentum, knowing the consequences should he refuse to undertake the tax or fail in crossing over the cow. Dressed in a faded red smock, replete with 4 talismans pinned to his chest, was led by representatives from all the 12 recognized sects in Wa, including his warriors. He sounded around. Many had their hearts in their mouths when the drums were sounded for the last, signaling him to cross over the cow. Amid the tension, anxiety, and the tears from the midst of the people here, the overlord crossed over the cow successfully for the 15th time. A representative of the British High Commissioner to Ghana, Paul Edwards, who was among the crowd, was happy with what he saw.
Very, very joyous that he managed to do that, and so it was again a pleasure for me to be a part of this. And you felt the celebration when it happened, and of course everybody was happy.
So when I was about to cross over the cow, we were having some butterflies in your stomach.
I think everybody did, didn't they? Everybody wanted it to succeed, and of course it did. So we were all very, very happy.
Meanwhile, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, speaking on behalf of President OccupyBoG, underscored the important role played by traditional rulers in complementing the effort of the government to possibly change the lives of the people. He therefore called on the traditional authorities to take a firm stance against illegal mining.
As we gather here today, I call upon our traditional authorities to take a firm stance against illegal mining. Let us use the power and respect of our chieftaincy institutions. Command to drive home the message that our environment is not for sale, and that the short-term gains of illegal mining cannot outweigh the long-term cost to our communities.
He noted that safety and security of citizens remains the top priority of the government, citing the influx of foreign nationals into the Upper region, warning that the country's security is on high alert and won't countenance any deviant behavior.
And we will not allow any deviant individuals to take advantage of this situation to infiltrate and perpetrate nefarious activities in our beloved country. Koro Chairman, as you are aware, no nation can develop without the prevalence of peace and stability. Only when the wind of peace and tranquility blows through the length and breadth of the country can it achieve growth and development.
Reporting for News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
In our next story, a man believed to be a serial pedophile in the Upper West region has been jailed 69 years by the Wa Circuit Court on 10 counts of defilement. He will, however, serve a concurrent prison term of 22 years. Rashid Ahmed Anata, throughout the 3-week trial, maintained his innocence on having carnal knowledge with 7 girls. Here's another report by Rafik Salam.
There have never been weighing in the interest of the public regarding the case of the disgraced 35-year-old wedding MC, Rashid Ahmed, better known by admirers as Anata. He was accused of having carnal knowledge of 10 minors and charged 10 counts of defilement, laced in 4 dockets. He has strenuously denied all charges against him. As usual of him, Anata arrived at the Wa Circuit Court wearing his spiritual Egyptian traditional orange strip garment. He stood motionless with his hands strapped at his back while the presiding judge, Jonathan Abugu, read out the 70-minute judgment. The first docket involved 3 minors and contained 6 counts of defilement. The second docket also involved 3 minors and 3 counts of defilement, while the third docket has 1 minor involved and 1 count of defilement. The fourth docket was, however, arrested by the prosecution. He was found guilty of all counts by the court and sentenced to a combined prison sentence of 69 years. The disgraced sexual predator will, however, serve combined prison term of 22 years, as explained by the principal state attorney, Said Abdul Shakur, who also led the prosecution.
On the first docket, he found him guilty on all the 6 counts and sentenced him to 8 years imprisonment with respect to the first count and 7 years on all the other counts, but to run concurrently, and that is a separate docket. Other docket, he convicted him and sentenced him to 7 years imprisonment for the 3 counts. That is another docket. On the third docket, he's convicted him and sentenced him to 7 years imprisonment. So we have 8 plus 7 plus 7. That is what we now have. So he might be serving about 22 years in prison. That is what happened in court today.
The prosecution was full of praise for one particular man who happens to be the complainant in this case, Aisu Baba. They are saying that despite the subculture of the people called Tijabuine, where people don't report criminal matters to the police, but he was out there on the beat and was able to get this judgment.
I did my job as a prosecutor. The court did its job as the court. The witnesses did their job. But the person that this society, the whole of this republic, should be grateful to is Aisu Baba alias Bahas. You know our society in Tijabunyeni. For those who don't know what Tijabunyeni means, in why we say we are all the same. So criminals get away with a lot of things because somebody stands up and say we are the same. This time round, a person who you would call a busybody went to police because of a viral video and put himself on the line, helped the police to get the victims and ensure that justice is done. We should all be grateful to Aisu Baba. And the parents who allowed, you know, the girls were more than 17, yet only 9 parents allowed their, we are grateful to the parents, allowed them to come and testify. We are grateful to them too.
In our latest Dialysis Crisis series, we delve into a tale that unfolds not only in hospital wards, but at the very core of families torn apart. It's a story that talks about choices families of patients make between witnessing their loved ones slip away or embarking on a quest for the means to keep them on the dialysis machine. Richard Kwejunyako tells the narrative of a 15-year-old Priscilla Asante who misses classes twice a week just to be on the dialysis machine.
The humming sound of medical equipment here at the renal unit of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital welcoming patients. It's a Tuesday morning and 15-year-old Priscilla Asante is being wheeled into the renal unit here.
The doctors told me I have to be on a machine, and I have to be on that machine either twice or thrice a week.
For now, she has to travel nearly 100 kilometers from Fumampong with her mother to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital every Tuesday and Thursday to have her dialysis session.
My mom and dad do not have money either. We have become miserable. I am appealing to the government to help me live through this. Otherwise, I may die.
Priscilla, a junior high school pupil, now carries a weight much heavier than her school bag. Her daily battle now is not with textbooks and homework, but with the relentless adversary, renal failure.
I want the government to support me so I can live to fulfill my dream of becoming a nurse.
The burden of her illness has not only taken a toll on her fragile body, but has shattered her world due to the family's precarious financial situation.
They said that could be 3.5.
They say every section is 350 cedis. And this in addition to getting blood and other medication.
Priscilla's mother, Ruth Ofori, has been a pillar of strength for her daughter and is determined to ensure her only daughter lives. With teary eyes, she shares the story of her family's headache, struggling to cope with the emotional and financial strain that comes with caring for her only daughter battling renal failure.
From the doctors, if I keep on missing this section, I may lose my daughter. And I need the help of the government.
Her voice quivers as she recounts the sleepless nights and endless hospital visits, each one a reminder of their uphill climb. But Priscilla is not alone in this fight. Thomas Vincent Khan has lived with kidney diseases for a decade.
The people who came and could not survive just a week or even a month. So for me to survive it all these 10 years, it's really been a tough one.
For Thomas, the thought of heading to the dialysis machine is not just physically draining, it's also a haunting financial specter. The towering cost of dialysis looms over him like a relentless shadow, casting doubt and despair. Thomas speaks of the silent tragedy he has witnessed over the years, a grim parade of 100 busloads of people who have lost their lives to kidney failure because they lack the financial means to access dialysis treatments.
Most of the time, it's not easy always chasing people or asking people for help because it is very difficult to sustain. For instance, if somebody gives you 1,000 to help you, you can't go to the person every day or every now and then to ask for the same help. And this is a disease that you always have to be coming to the hospital. Without that funding, you can't come for dialysis. And here is a case that it is a pay as you go. So it means that if you don't have money, you can't come for dialysis. And like I mentioned, there are people who have died because they cannot have the money to come for dialysis. And to tell you the truth, there are lots of the people we have lost, not because of the disease, but just the thought of finding money to come to the hospital. That alone has killed them.
Now, Member of Parliament for Yendi, Farouk Aliu Mahama, has cut a sod for the construction of the Yendi Inner Roads. The 4 Inner Roads project will improve the quality of the existing roads to facilitate the movement of goods in the area. The contractors say the project will be completed in 5 months.
The roads to be built will constitute 7.5 kilometers. They will have similar features, with each having 2 lanes, one on each side of the center lane, with a width of 2.75 to 3.5 meters. These roads, which will be asphalted, are expected to be completed by the 31st of March 2024. Speaking at the sword cutting ceremony, Member of Parliament for Yendi, Farouk Aliu Mahama, said he promised the people of Yendi nothing but development, and that is being manifested for all to see.
We are moving Yendi to the next level. We are moving Yendi to the next level. Before I became a Member of Parliament, I promised the good people of Yendi that I was coming to bring nothing but development. We call it Naya Tontiro. So therefore, I am showing the manifestation of why I'm representing you in Parliament. I'll be using my network as the son of the former Vice President of the Republic of Ghana and the support of the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to bring all the needed investors. Today, Yendi is to the world. Everybody knows Yendi. Yendi has been positioned to the ambassadors. Yendi has been positioned to the outside world. Yendi has an MP who represents the people with intelligent contribution in the plenary in the chamber of Ghana's Parliament.
Contractors of the project assured that the roads will be built according to the specifications.
The roads will be built with the quality expected, respecting the standards of road construction as much as possible, and respecting the standards of safety to prevent and avoid accidents. Our goal is to deliver a road that meets the necessities of the client and communities involved, promoting an environment of cooperation. We wish to proceed with the works, disturbing as less as possible the communities affected by the construction.
In a speech read on behalf of the overlord of Dagbon, Yana Abukari II, by his secretary Musa Yakubu, commended government for the numerous projects brought to the area, also commending the MP for facilitating these developments.
The projects such as the Tamale interchange, Tamale airport expansion, Tamale military sports stadium, Tamale teaching hospital expansion, Tamale market expansion, Eastern Corridor Road project, electrification and water expansion projects, asphalted town roads are projects that Dong is proud to have. This Yendi inner roads asphalting project, championed by you, our hard-working member of Parliament, Honorable Farouk Ali Mahama, will not only contribute immensely towards the productivity of this area, it will also continue to make Yendi an alternative place to live by foreigners and non-citizens of this area.
Now, residents of Aisu in the Ashanti region, who until now had been afflicted by deplorable roads, are excited as government has begun the construction of a 47-kilometer stretch of roads in that area. The project, spearheaded by the Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. John Amputia Kuma, will see poor road networks in about 15 communities tarred and asphalted. Ohiming Teria has this report.
For decades, residents of Chirkrum, Amwoma Chiansi, Wankra, Adadiam, Jamasi, among others, have struggled with poor roads. Drivers are forced to stop plying some of these communities, and those who do so also charge exorbitant fares. But through the innovation of the Member of Parliament for Ejoso, Dr. John Ampuntwekuma, construction works on both link and town roads, covering 47 kilometers, have begun. For Assemblyman for Amwoma Chance, Daniel Usu, the struggle of pregnant women accessing vehicles, especially at night, could soon be over. The Chirkrum Amwoma Chance Abrem Road is planned for asphalting. For years, commercial drivers resorted to offloading passengers at the Adadientem junction because of poor road network. Francesca Atta is among residents of Adadientem who have had to trek home for over 5 kilometers because commercial drivers refuse to enter the town in protest over bad roads.
But you see junction swing and Antiaco because they say na afen ye nyankopon ya adoma mpanyimfo hu ya mobile muguso a omo ya mayenti ene age pa se omo ya kwa because nsuo tokora na bridge na da ho no etumi break ye ntumi ka bia nkonti so wona ante na utwa nsuo no o gidie se ye kwa ni wi a car no betimi abada de ntem kroma be fam wo ho. Oh yes, of course omo baba be fire fi se o trotro for no kwan ya so no monam.
So Good Engineering and Construction Limited are contractors working on the project. Chief Executive Prince Asari says the firm, which is setting up an asphalt plant, is in good position to complete 25-kilometer stretch by the end of 2023.
Our target is to complete most of the 47-kilometer stretch. Some places have 4 kilometers, some places have 3. So the place that we have started is about 25 kilometers. So hopefully by the end of this year, we should see the ceiling works on those 25-kilometer stretch.
From Ejoso for Joy News, Ohiming Teria reporting.
Now, a non-governmental organization is using religion to tackle child trafficking and child labor in communities in the Volta, Oti, and Bono East regions. GlobeServe Ministries International and its foreign partners have rescued 5 child trafficking victims at Yendi in the Pru East district of the Bono East region. The children, until they were released by the boatmasters, were used for fishing on the Volta Lake for months. Heming Tewe of our security desk reports.
Human trafficking, a form of modern-day slavery, is common in DOT, Volta, Bono East, Savannah and other regions. Security operatives and local collaborators often use force in rescuing trafficked victims who sometimes have no access to their families. Such victims are often dumped at shelters and remain there forever. But the GlobeServe Ministries International has adopted an approach of not using the police or the security agencies in the rescuing effort. The NGO is using religion to address the issue of child labor and child trafficking. Stakeholders, including boat masters who own trafficked children, traditional authorities, among others, are invited to dialogue.
We are not here to arrest anybody. No, we are here to have a dialogue with you.
Dubbed the Gospel of Justice, the meeting saw tens of boat owners, farmers and traditional authorities converge in the Pro-East town of Yendi. General Overseer of GlobeServe Ministries International, Reverend Samuel Kofi Dunya, first addressed the meeting.
We, as a GlobeServe, decided not to approach this by coming at pointing fingers at people, but we want to come and walk alongside them, bring all the stakeholders together. Let's talk about child labor. Let's talk about child trafficking. How can we eradicate this? How can we stop it? We elected our government officials and put them there. They alone cannot handle the issue of child labor and child trafficking. But we, the church, I believe we are better positioned to make sure that people's lives are transformed for the better and that they know how to live well for their family, for their community, and thereby affecting our nation.
Reverend Dunya is happy at the gains following a decision by boat masters to release 5 trafficked children.
This issue has been going on over the years. Our approach has been to arrest people, put them behind bars, and what happens? They stay in the bars. What happened to their children? What happened to their wives? Eventually they will come out. When they come out, what do? They become more hardened and they want to continue again to continue on this perpetration. It is not only by arresting people, but we believe that coming at it holistically, helping them to understand what is going on, and thereby with the understanding, with the knowledge, backed by the power of the gospel, we believe that we can have a holistic approach.
The group's approach has received commendation, especially from traditional authorities. Nana Kwame and Jimmy Non Kokwan Anan represent the Cherepo Mahine.
Dumadia, Omedebema communities, I saw for no Yamesianka or Maya Bibri. Because a Yabutai Bakuno Mobile, send a beya, a eliminate poverty, and the child labor, Puma trafficking, a ye Nina day, a film.
The rescued children will be reunited with their families. From Yendi in the Bono East region for Joy News, Ohiminteria reporting.
Now, 117 schools are expected on the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology campus within the next 2 days ahead of the preliminary stage of the National Science and Math Quiz. 3-time champions St. Peter's SHS, Achimota School and Wesley Girls will this year begin their campaign from the preliminary stage after losing their seeded spots last year. Jacqueline Ansumayabwa has been interacting with some schools who have been arriving at the KNUST campus in Kumasi.
It's that time where all the schools converge at one place for the National Science and Maths Quiz. We are right here at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, where we have about 56 schools arriving for the preliminary contest of the 2023 edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz. So let's have an interaction with most of the students who are arriving today to get to know the expectations, how far and how well they have prepared for this contest.
Me here, I have students from St. Monica's Secondary School. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
You look like you're shy. You're here starting with the preliminaries. How well are you prepared for it? I'll start with you.
We are well prepared and we are just hoping for the best because we have been learning throughout for almost 3 years now, and then we are hoping that it will come out well for us.
All right. But my big question, any school here that you see as a threat to the competition that you're about to contest for? Because sometimes you'd be like, hey, this school is like, we might not be able to conquer them. But let me know, which school do you think is a threat to you?
Well, for me, it's Yellow Kobo, but we are hoping that...
Yellow Kobo. Why Yellow Kobo?
Looking at their performance at the regional championship, they did really well. They were very impressive. It's kind of like a threat
to you. All right, what about you? Do you think it's so Yellow Kobo?
Yes.
Okay, what about you?
Okay, me, I don't really have a threat in terms of the schools. I believe we are going to face the questions. So if the questions are suitable for us, then we are winning. We don't have any threat.
I've got a couple of them. It's not a couple. All the contestants are here. So can you tell me your name? I'll start with you.
Butchie Bright.
Bright and?
James Guest.
And?
Steven.
Okay. Can you give it to him?
Steven.
Right. So how has it been for you so far? Last year you got to the preliminary stage. You got knocked out. This year you are back. What is different this time around? Let me start with you.
Oh, we are hoping you should qualify from the prelims to 1/8 or quarterfinals. That's why we are here.
Not the main finale. You don't want to qualify for the main finale.
Oh, if by the God grace we qualify there, we will thank that God who helped us.
Okay. You contested 3 years ago. How was it for you? How has it been? Wait, how has life been for you? Normal. It didn't come with any pressure and all that.
No.
But what were some of the lessons that you learned? Which was 3 years ago.
2 years.
2 years ago, 2021. So how has it been for you so far?
Actually, it was the first time for the school. So preparation wasn't all that easy. Yeah. So but we did our best by qualifying from the zone.
Yeah, at least was that your first time?
Yes, please.
And then that was quite a pressure on you, wasn't it? Or it wasn't that much of a pressure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being here for the first time, pressure was there although, but not all that much.
Okay. All right. And where are you now? Do you pursue your science and maths? Because usually there's this argument that most of the times when we are done, we don't really hear of them. But I'm glad I met you today. What have you been up to?
Right now, I'm currently at UMAT.
Okay.
Pursuing my engineering.
That's great. All right.
Our Father, bless our soul, bless our works and bless our play.
So it's in between easy and difficult. It's not really difficult, but it's not also very easy.
We've gone and we've done our homework and work.
And that's the brilliant note on which we cap off the news this morning. But up next, the news review with Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. We'll be right back. Here we go. Welcome back. Hope you didn't miss us too much because now we get into the newspapers with political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He is our guest. I see him in the background. You don't, but I see him already. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you, my brother?
It's okay. I was a little under the weather yesterday. I wasn't feeling my best, but this morning is better, and we thank God for it all. Must always be grateful for everything.
Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right before we get into it, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to start the news review. And here's what they are offering you. They are offering, if you're a man, prostate screening for free. You don't pay anything. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free, gratis. You won't pay anything. Zilch, right? And here's why. There are so many developments, so many people coming up with prostate-related issues, fertility-related issues for men. And before they can say Jack or Kwame, if you like, things have got, to a deplorable state, which is why you don't have to wait till you get there. Go to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They'll offer you check or screening services for free. Here's where you can locate them. Here in Accra, you can find them at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Then there's Takrady Anaji, State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswe and Esiamanzama. Their call lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review. Now, Doc, one of the matters we're discussing this morning is the Occupy Bank of Ghana protest. So it's interesting. Occupy Jolobi House, there was even a UK version. Many people don't know of that. And stunningly, Papa Usu Ankoma refused to meet them. But that is on one end. Now there's the Occupy Bank of Ghana. And both of these groupings have threatened a series of demonstrations. Are we on the cusp of living out what the Constitution says, that right it gives to express ourselves, or are people simply overdoing it? Where do you stand on this? And you could add any thoughts you have on any critical matter before we get into the papers.
Ben, thanks for the opportunity. I think it's a good question. Demonstrations, apart from the fact that they are constitutional provisions, they are also an inherent human right that Constitution gives when you are operating every democracy, right? So you can do away with what demonstrations. In fact, in political science, demonstrations are nothing but what public opinion modes. One of the modes by which people express themselves to government about happenings, about their concerns and all that. And I want politicians to note that demonstrations are nothing but what a gauge that you are able to use to measure the political temperature of the country. So it comes to politicians as a free consultancy. They should grab that opportunity and use it at all times. It's not a bad thing at all, provided it is situated in the framework of the law. You saw the Julobi demonstration and all that. They brought three things up for the government to consider: unemployment, corruption, and the economy. These are important things that affect this country every day. And it is interesting to note that if you look at the economy, it has a provision in the Constitution under the directive principle of state policy that the state should maintain a healthy economy at all times. So if there's a group saying that do what is expected of you, what is wrong with that? The issue of unemployment is really a big issue that affects this country. And look at this issue of unemployment. There are a large army of unemployed youth who are walking in the street of the country without any opportunity for them to work. I tell you, it is one of the factors that voters consider in voting people into government or throwing government out. So the economy is one of the factors for voter choices. The unemployment and corruption. Corruption, if you read the Constitution, there are a number of provisions that say that the state must take steps to deal with corruption, and individuals in whatever field they find themselves must deal with corruption the way they can handle it. So all these things, people are giving you this, information as part of your duty, and also will help you during election. Why are you throwing it away? Look at the minority saying that, yes, we are demonstrating. They believe that the Bank of Ghana has erred and that the governor must, leave his office, and the rest of them. They are demonstrating. And you see all manner of, impediment that is being put in their way. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They have the right to demonstrate. Just provide them the security, the necessary environment, create that enabling environment for them to express themselves that way. That is all. If they want to go against the rules, yes, you have every opportunity to deal with that. But if you want to, create an impediment on their way, then I'm afraid you are acting against the Constitution. So I see there's nothing wrong with that exercise when they say, well, we are going to demonstrate, we want to occupy this place, we want to go. Yes, the back and forth with the police and all that is normal. But let it be known that these things are not illegalities. They are firmly rooted in our Constitution. And once people can exercise them, taking into consideration the laws of the land, they are home and dry. My surprise yesterday was that the minority leadership wanted to hand over the petition to the very man they are accusing, that he should come forward and then take the petition. That one, I disagree. I disagree with them. And I was trying to rack my brain to see whether it sits in the area of political science or not, but I couldn't find any. That doesn't mean that, it is not in political science, but I could not find, because the real question is that you are accusing me of wrongdoing, for which reason you want me to leave office. And you want to come, I should come out for you to hand over a note to me that, get this note, I want you to be out of this office. I didn't get that. What they should have done is to hand over that petition to the one who hired the governor. That is how it should be. I mean, because he will have the power to kick him out of office. But if you are saying that, come for your death warrant and then leave office, who on earth will come out and then meet you to receive that letter? And that's my difficulty. But apart from that, it is within the right of the minority to demonstrate and also demand what they want to demand using the rules of the game. And then if they are able to do that, there's absolutely nothing wrong about that. They said they want to do series of them. Yes, the law allows as many as you can, provided you walk that tight rope of legal righteousness. Once you are able to do that, there's no problem at all. I want, holders of political power to know that these things are not illegalities at all. It is not for fun that framers of our Constitution put it in our Constitution. The right to assemble, the right to demonstrate, and that those who hold political power and those who manage this process must always have at the back of their minds that this is a right that cannot be taken away from them at all.
Thank you for those thoughts shared on all of these interesting matters. Let's get into the papers now. Starting with the Daily Graphic newspaper, licensing private schools, NASIA to enforce compliance from January. Then there's Ochehene rallies youth against climate injustice. And there's hundreds protest against Bank of Ghana and hardship. On the back page of the paper, renovation works start on Manle Dada African Unity Schools and Bolgatanga Hospital Dialysis Center operational in December. I saw a story. Let me take a quick look at it. In terms of this dialysis saga, so over 90% of Ghanaian kidney failure patients who should receive dialysis are not getting it, according to a report. That's how bad it is. It took, of course, we've had our own checks, but it took that lady at the Occupy Julobi House demonstration to talk about how people were losing out when it came to, the Kolebu recent situation. And if that had not come up, only God knows whether the figure of 700 plus CDs would have been revised, and whether all this talk about we were in the blind side and it was done on our blind side and we did not know about it would have come up. But with such statistics, even with the 300 or so CDs, Doc, how many people can afford this? You're supposed, under normal circumstances, to go for dialysis about 3 times a week. Averagely, let me even add transportation to that. So let's say you are required to have about 400 CDs on you for each one of these times. That's 200 CDs per week. No wonder over 90% of Ghanaian kidney failure patients who should receive dialysis are not getting it. It's simply not economically viable. What's your take on that?
Ben, it is very sad to say the least, that we are in this country and we don't care for one another. If you look at administration, one of the meanings that is in there is that you care for the people. You are here to provide a service. Ask those who govern today that are they factoring this into what the work that they do? Do they care? Do they support? Are they administering? Are they managing human and material resources to make life better for human beings? And the answer, your guess is as good as mine. We have refused to deal with important issues that affect our very survival. And we are on the path of what? Dealing with things that are peripheral, that are non-essential, that are a waste of everybody's time. I cannot imagine that such a facility, which is so important, we will lose sight on the fact that we have to what? Secure more to help our people. And all the time, we throw good money into wasteful ventures. It is very, very unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate. And also come back to look at it. Don't we have people who can sit down, plan these things, and then look ahead? That looking at the alarming rate we are having this problem on our hand, what can we do to bring smile on the faces of people? All these things have eluded people. So I ask myself, who are those who want to occupy public office? Do they have what it takes to be there? And this is where Aristotle comes in. He said, governance must be given to those who are what? Who have what it takes to be there. All right. Recently, I read something from Professor Michael Kwei's book, Politics in Ghana, and he talks about, this Victor Uzu, saying that governance must not be handled by those who are coming for experimental purposes, that they have nothing to share with that. Victor Uzu saying that in 1979. All right. What kind of experiment is this? Are you experimenting with human lives? No. I am disappointed in Ghanaian society, in those who hold political powers, and all of us, we must bow our head in shame, because it's something that we can what? Earmark some money for, and then we will be home and dry. Yesterday, I was listening to the World Health Organization's rep telling us that, yes, you could do ABC. Then I asked myself, can't we do this thing on our own without anybody even suggesting, are we lack of ideas? Are we bereft of ideas or what? All right. I was so surprised because these are things that we see every day. And the medical officers continue to give reports to appropriate authorities at all times. So who are those who have refused to make these things work? Look at the way we levy, taxes on some of the things. You take your ECG bill, and there is one on national health, one on 1% on so and so. Can't we do same? That yes, you are paying this much, but there is 2% that goes to what? Dialysis, what? Management and the rest of them. Everybody will pay, including my mother, who is so poor.
Maybe, Doc, you shouldn't start that, because look at the taxes already that are heaped on us. You are paying for NHI, you are paying for what is our health system like?
Yes,
in terms of national health insurance.
Option.
You are still paying for COVID-19.
There are certain taxes which are supposed to have lived their usefulness on our tax system.
Exactly.
And they are still there. Why can't we push that money in there? The COVID tax thing, I don't know whether it's still there.
It is
there.
It is.
Yes. Why can't we move it into dialysis management? Right? Let people read the rudiments of administration and see whether they are administering.
Right.
That is the way to go.
I love that.
When you are administering, you are what? You have a vision, you have a goal. You are walking the talk. There's supposed to be action. There's supposed to be cooperation, and there's supposed to be all activities, making sure that you deliver, and whatever you say, you walk the talk, and you have you manage both human and material resource to make life meaningful.
Right.
If you forget about it, you have no business being in public space to manage our resources on our behalf, because you yourself don't understand how to manage resources. That is a problem, and I am sorry to say that.
Those who administer must learn what administration means. I love that. So let's get into some other stories. Hundreds protest against Bank of Ghana and hardship, of course. We saw that. Tied to that, there's a story in the Daily Guide newspaper which suggests something. I'll get to that shortly. But On page 13 of the newspaper, licensing private schools, NASIA, to enforce compliance from January. And the National Inspectorate Authority says the honeymoon period for operators of private schools to get their schools registered and licensed as mandated by the law has elapsed. The Inspector General of Schools, Dr. Hilda Ampadu, told the Daily Graphic that from January 2024, NASIA would start enforcing the law to compel all operators to comply with the licensing requirement. There is also Ochehene rallies youth against climate injustice, and the Ochehene Osajefo Amwetio Foripening has urged young people across the world to raise their voices against climate injustice to help mitigate the devastating impact of global warming on poor and vulnerable countries. I do not know whether our president is still the leader of the Climate Vulnerable Forum. I know that in the past he has been, but look at what is happening in our country. But just quickly to go back to that dialysis-related story. I shared my sentiments, but the story itself offers some hope. Bolgatanga Hospital Dialysis Center operational in December, and the newly established state-of-the-art dialysis center at Bolgatanga, that is the regional hospital, will be operational in December this year, a physician specialist, Dr. Emmanuel Akatibo, has revealed. He said ongoing works on the center were 90% complete. And let's just hope that in this instance, we will not be told 50% complete, 90% complete, and you will never see the end of that tunnel. Any quick thoughts to share on these before we proceed?
I always, have a problem with political rhetoric where people come and speak the political language that gives you some glimmer of hope, language that promises heaven and earth, and at the end of the day, nothing is delivered. No. Those things do not move me at all.
He's a physician specialist, so hopefully he's telling us the truth.
I need people to walk the talk and do the needful at all times.
Right.
That is what is important. Nothing more, nothing less. So when people come with all manner of statement and all that, they will tell you political language. Oh, everything is in the pipeline. Oh, what is the length of that pipeline? Can you determine what is the content? What is in there? Oh, there is what? A hope. We are working no time, and in no time we'll be able to do ABC and all that. No, please, let's get back to the basis of administration. As I said, administration requires what? It's the essence of administration is that you are providing service. All right. 2, you have a vision, a goal, and the goal you want to achieve. What is the means of achieving the goal? You don't just say them, but there must be a conscious effort to get there. So there must be a goal. Apart from the goal, there must be what? Activity. How do you walk the talk? Walk the talk. We want to establish this. Let us do ABC to get there, the talk. And then cooperation. Let us engage people, right? Do have the requisite knowledge, stakeholders, bring them on board. And this is where my country always falls flat, where the governments do not want to engage stakeholders so that they can contribute meaningfully to supporting these things. This is something easy to do. And if we really want to get it right, let's go to the basics of administration is the way to go.
Well, thank you for those thoughts. On the international front, Mali in meltdown as militants advance UN withdraws, and then Congo Nobel laureate Dr. Mukwege announces presidency bid. But then the Daily Guide newspaper, killer houseboy, I'm sure you've heard of him, Alistair, madam died from head injuries. That's according to an autopsy report. Cecilia Dape's ex-maid denied bail. I'm talking about Patience Botche. Then there's Alan Trevatin. Ghana will process 60% of raw materials. That's according to him, if given the nod. Some will definitely jab and ask, but you were Minister for Trade and Industry under Kufuor and in this administration for 6 years. What happened? Then there's Kayaye, in quotation marks, bribed to join NDC demo. If it were straightforward, why would we put it in quotation marks? But according to the Daily Guide newspaper, some Occupy Bank of Ghana demonstrators were caught on camera yesterday bribing some female headquarters known as Kayaye in Greater Accra Region Central Business District to participate in their protest march. According to sources, each Kayaye received 20 cedis as a motivational fee. And it says the video shows a queue of headquarters carrying headpans and moving towards a red VIP bus at the Adabraka area where they waited to be paid their motivational fee. Any quick thoughts on these?
Yes, I will start with Alan's story and end up with the Kaye story. If you look at Alan's story...
And since you're talking
yes.
of Alan, then let me just sneak in what the finder says. Choose a president of vision and integrity in 2024. Vision, integrity, and then he talks about the 60% of raw materials. So then you can put all of that together.
Alan has said a lot of, very useful things. And you put in the right question. But he knew all this. And when he was part of this government, we didn't see it. All right. He is in the best position to tell us whether he proffered those ideas to the government and what came out of that. We want to know from him because you can't just. But
I have listened to him suggest that when my colleague Evans Mensah interacted with him, he did suggest some of these things. And usually what they will tell you is that our hands are tied. I may be a minister, but I am not the president, and I can't just bring to bear everything that I want to bring to bear.
Yeah, that can be accepted. But what you can also do, that if you believe strongly that what the tax given to me, I can do it ABC, and that this is the only way to go. If without it, I cannot make any meaningful contribution towards the position that I've been put to, you have every right to what? Vote with your feet by leaving that office. But your continuous stay, and then you come out to say something, people will read meanings to it, like the way I'm reading meanings into what he has said. So politicians should know that if you believe strongly that you have an idea you want to share, your government is not ready for it, and you believe that that is the only way to go, muster the courage to leave that office so that you can also tell the whole world that I left based on this. That if you leave without doing any of these, and then you come out to say something, we'll tell you that it's nothing but postmortem analysis and then postmortem type of situation. But that aside, right, he has come out with beautiful ideas. It is my hope and prayer that it's not him alone. Politicians, when they are looking for power, they come out with one of the finest ideas. But as soon as they take office, events take a different turn. We are not going to see implementation of those things, and then at the end of the day they throw all these ideas, and that has brought us where we are. Look at affordable housing projects that are in the bush today, and look at the resources we are pumping into it. Just go and do the audit. You realize that we go into the IMF, one of the reasons could be some of these things, because the monies that we borrow to do these things are that we have wasted them. And that is not the best. If you read the directive principle of state policy, it is clear for all of us to see that all government should, and it's mandatory, shall continue the projects of previous government. What are we seeing here? And these are some of the things. We promise heaven and earth, you come to government and we do nothing. We always want what. So if you look at Ghanaian politics, it's mostly during campaign, it's mostly driven by propaganda. That we say a whole lot of things, but when we are given opportunity, we fail the whole people. And we as a society, we also contribute our quota in strengthening these things. Instead of looking at people saying that you promised this, you failed to deliver, for which reason I'm not going to renew your mandate. We glorify them, vote for them, and say that this is our tradition, this is our party, we love it, and we'll vote for it at all times. It doesn't matter what the party has done. That should change.
All right. Let's wrap with the rest of the stories in the Finder newspaper. Ashaiman residents give government 2-month ultimatum to fix their roads. You know Ashaiman very well, just as all of us do, and it's deplorable, distasteful. I don't see why. Recently, we were talking about the Cape Coast stretch. You see all of these terrible roads, and no wonder there are so many accidents there. I've been talking about the motorway. I've used it a lot in recent times. It is a death trap. And even worse, at night with everything, you don't want to suffer a flat tire or anything because you could get mugged. Anything could happen. It's becoming, a terrible situation. We shall return. Organizers vow to petition Dr. Addison. I've already, looked at the Alan Chebateng story. There's a story on page 9. Engineer seeks Supreme Court order to collect signatures for constitutional amendment. Why? He is seeking a declaration the Supreme Court allow him to collate signatures across the country to back the demand for a referendum to comprehensively amend the 1992 Constitution. He is bringing the action under Article 21 and 131 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. The name, Henry Mensah. And finally, Baumia from Opari, other signed book of condolence for Teresa Kufuor. We've lost Mama Teresa, and we've also lost E.T. Mensah. Quick reflections on this, and let me just add this because I may forget, maybe not for you, but especially for those who sometimes get so intoxicated with Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. Kevin Prince Boateng, our very own, admits to falsely endorsing Messi over Ronaldo simply to secure a move to Barcelona. He admits he did that only because he wanted to secure a move to Barcelona, not because he felt indeed Messi was better than CR7. Over to you.
That's a good human interest story. But let me get back to the Sherman rules and the demonstration and all that. We vote people into office that they will provide our needs. We support them with resources. So when things of this nature come to the fore, then we ask ourselves whether our leaders are living up to the expectation. You and I had some months or a little over a year ago, the mantra of year of roads. What has happened to that?
Right.
What has happened to that? I don't get it. Was it to, just get us excited without any work being done on that?
Right.
No. I believe that our politicians should reflect on these things and that it is their duty.
Right.
Their duty. If you read the directive principle of state policy, it's saying that the state shall build infrastructure in every part of the country. In other words, every part of the country will have its fair share of what? Infrastructure development. And one of it is what? Road network. And it is interesting to note that the second consideration for voter choices in Ghana is what? Infrastructure development.
Yeah.
So when people demand these things, I want politicians to take political notice of it because one, constitution, they have a constitutional duty to deliver them.
Right.
Two, they have promised the people that they would deliver. Three, it is also in their interest to listen to such people and listen well because it is going to be one of the barometers that they will use to gauge their performance in office. And when they are not satisfied, they will throw them out.
Final thoughts, Doc. We have to go. If you're done.
Oh yes, I think I am fine with everything, but I believe that people should know that when the Constitution gives us the right to assembly and to demonstrate. So when you see Kayaye going to express themselves, and you don't have the information on hand telling us that this is the situation, issue of guesses and all that should not come in because everybody has the right. When we say that people were paid to go and demonstrate, then we are insulting the people's intelligence and all that. I can walk into a demonstration, not because somebody influenced, but I believe that I was moved because it is my right. It is also true that some people could be bribe and all that. But if you think that we have the information, let's share the information, purely.
Okay.
That is what, because the public has the right to know, and they have the right to know the truth. I think that Kayaye, they have all the good reasons to join any demonstration of their choice. Remember, they are Ghanaians, first and foremost.
Ghanaians first and foremost, and we are Ghanaian too, and always striving for the best for Ghana. Thank you, Doc, for joining the conversation this morning.
Thank you, Ben. I wish you a good day.
Same to you, sir. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, of course, political scientist at the University of Ghana, also director of the Center for European Studies at that same institution. Right before we go, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening, free fertility screening for women as well. Locate them here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji State Tema Community 22. Techiman Hanswa and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports, up next.
Good morning. Let's do sports now on the AM show with me, Murtala Nabila Abdullah. On Monday, the Africa Games Local Organizing Committee and representatives of African Union toured the facilities that will be hosting the Games next year. My colleague Mubarak Haruna was there and he comes through with this report.
And then after that will conclude.
Another chance for Ghana to prove it is on course to host Africa's biggest sports event. Representatives from some of the countries on the continent were present to see for themselves the progress made at the venues designated for the Games. The tour began at the Legon Stadium, where the facility appears to be far from being near completion. Work is still ongoing to better the grass. Tartan tracks for both the stadium and the warm-up field are yet to be designed, and other areas like the director's box, the media tribune, are all uncompleted. But all is not gloomy. Though work is still ongoing, the rugby turf seems to be in good shape with only final touches remaining. An even better improvement of the field, the designated area for the athletes to have a successful stay for the Games, appears ready. The Legon facility inspection has been completed, and now it's time to proceed with the assessment of the Borteman Sports Complex. A noteworthy development is the construction of a road that directly connects to the Borteman facility. According to contractors, this road is considered safe and a crucial piece of the puzzle.
As of now, the contractor has done about 80% of the work. It's expected to be completed in December this year. And if, I hope you travel on it, enjoy extensive work on completed. We hope that it will be done before the end of December.
However, inside the facility has many unfinished projects for the event. Over 20 sporting disciplines, including swimming, tennis, and basketball, will be hosted at the venue. It's been a roller coaster period as far as preparation for the Games is concerned. But over the last few months, there's been some improvement in terms of the erection of buildings for the various sporting events. But the job is not done yet. There's still a lot more to do, and time will tell if indeed they can meet the deadline in December. Construction progress stands at 59%, with 49% remaining to be completed. However, the overall completion rate is at 87%. Officials say the government has invested over $180 million in the project, and additional support from corporate Ghana can accelerate the completion of the work.
So far, government has invested about $195 million, and that is not with regard. That has nothing to do with operational costs. It's solely for infrastructure, the building of the facilities here, and then at Legon. And government will have to also give the LOC money for operations. So that's the cost that will also be added to what so far has been sunk into the project. And then we are saying that corporate bodies can also complement the efforts of what government has done so far.
The inspection team expressed their satisfaction with the progress of work done during the tour. They also extended their gratitude to the government of Ghana for its efforts in ensuring that the preparations are on track.
I think we are very happy with the progress that has been made so far, and the African Union is very, very grateful with the great investment that the government of the Republic of Ghana has put into the construction of the facilities. Last time when we were here, we were assured by the LOC that by December, all the facilities will be completed and ready for the Games. And for sure, this time we just visited Legon. It's nearly complete, and here we are now. When I see the overall percentage there, I think it is about 87%. So this is very impressive. And the confederations, who are the custodians of sports in terms of who are the custodians of appreciating the technical aspects of the organization of the games rather. They were very impressed and they are very supportive and they were very happy.
The sun in the hourglass continues to fall, and as it descends, the anticipation for the games intensifies. With just 5 months left, there is a heightened awareness that preparations need to be completed quickly to meet the deadline in December. Haruna Mubarak for Joy Sports.
And let's talk club football now. And chairman of the Ghana League Clubs Association, Kujo Fiano, says his outfit will do all it can to ensure that the needed support required by clubs to have a competitive Ghana Premier League this season would be provided. He said that it is important they are giving the needed support that will ensure that Ghana football is brought back to its glory days.
Our esteemed football administrators, club owners, footballers, and all other industry players, the Ghana League Clubs Association, GALCA, extends its heartfelt appreciation for your unwavering commitment to the advancement of football in Ghana. GALCA also commends the club owners across all divisions who, despite the challenging economic climate, have remained steadfast in their investment of time, resources, and energy in the world of football. While many businesses faced adversity, the football industry continued to flourish, providing support to the numerous players engaged in the sport. This season, GALCA plans a number of activities to help shape the football ecosystem. As the welfare organization of our clubs, GALCA remains committed to sponsoring innovative programs to nurture the game at all levels. Our flagship events, including the GALCA Top 4, the President Cup, and the First Lady Cup, will be revamped and enhanced to generate income to support our beloved clubs. This will take the shape of new formats to the competitions, plus great packages for all clubs and players participating in them. We are actively engaged in discussions with various stakeholders, corporate entities, and potential investors to provide their backing in this endeavor, and we are making inroads. In due course, GALCA will announce a strategic partnership to further strengthen our initiatives. Regarding the forthcoming GFA elections, GALCA extends best wishes to all candidates and calls for a fair and transparent electoral process to select leaders who will contribute to the growth of football in Ghana.
On Monday, we reported that Mediama SC, proud to their CAF Champions League tie against Ghanaian opponent, Horoya, they had received a letter from their sponsor, Goldfields, telling them that they were not going to sponsor the activities of the club anymore. Well, there is a confirmation of that story from the Member of Parliament for Takwa Incheon, Mriku Duka, who says that Goldfields should rescind their decision of not supporting the club.
Our league is being re-energized. The soccer fraternity must be happy. We mustn't only glorify the teams in the diaspora, but also glorify our teams and motivate them. We need to motivate ourselves. It's not only the teams in the foreign countries and will be wearing their t-shirts, even spending more time discussing foreign teams than our local matches. Referees must be motivated. Team or club owners, the entire playing body in this country must be equally motivated and directed. When they are influenced by positive comments, we kind of reshape our sporting fraternity. On this note, thank you very much for the attention. We believe come December, where we will be playing in Tapa for the championship, the entire country will come to Tapa. All routes will be to Tapa. We'll be commissioning our stadium also by November ending. And we are using this platform to invite you to Tapa. Invitation letters will start coming, and by the grace of God, we shall play our match, the first match of the group championship in Tapa.
Quite a difficult time Ten Hag has had so far at Manchester United, and with Zlatan saying they should consider his future, we wait to see what the leadership of Manchester United would be saying in the coming days. This is how we wrap up AM Sports here with me, Murtala, Nabila, Abla. We appreciate your time. The Ghana Football Association members are currently leaving Accra to Tamale for the GFA elections, which is expected to happen on Thursday, despite the threats of legal injunctions on the processes that has been put out by the Elections Committee of the football governing body. We'll have details as our members will be on the ground to bring you the details of what will be happening in Tamale. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for staying. I'm sure from the beam I'm sharing you can see that I'm excited that you stayed with us. It's time now for us to hit our big stories. But before we do, what have you drunk this morning? I'm thinking about water. And if it's water, you know it is life. Now, I am proffering for you Awake, which is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. If you're thinking of sizes, we have the perfect ones for you. 330 and 500 ml. The kids, you can put it in their lunch boxes and they're good to go. If you want 750 ml, you're sorted. That's for the heavy drinkers. And 1.5 liters for those like me who always want more. But if you're thinking of something bigger for your office or your home, we have 19-liter jar bottles, ideal for such situations. All you must do now is drink Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. So choose a bottle of Awake Purified Drinking Water today and get quality top-notch hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. For me, the most heartwarming aspect. For every bottle you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. Look at everything that is going on. A lot of people can't afford that treatment. By buying Awake Purified Water, you donate a little bit into their kitty. It's another quality product by Casapreco Company Limited. For bulk purchases, call 0262 351 251. Remember, this advert is FDA approved, and our guests are also ISO certified. Anyway, it's another morning, and we're talking about the Bank of Ghana, Occupy Bank of Ghana protest from yesterday, all the dynamics to do with it, the different facets of the conversation. Now, they have served notice, the NDC, that they are going to host or put together a series of these demonstrations, just as the Occupy Jolobi House demonstrators also said, we're going to do this in series. Interestingly, in the UK, there was a rendition of that. And it's something that I'm going to be looking at because I was disappointed that Papa Usu Ankoma, the High Commissioner, did not, in fact, it was so bad, he did not only refuse to interact with the Ghanaian citizens there, he laughed. And someone was telling him, it's a shame. Just speak to us. I mean, what would it do for you to speak to them? But anyway, we focus on the Occupy Bank of Ghana demonstration from yesterday and matters arising. Our guest this morning, ISO certified, of course, Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament, Tamale Central, and Bernard Mona, social activist. Bernard, can you hear me? Mr. Mona? Okay, all right. Bernard Mona will join us shortly. But we have in the studio Murtala Mohammed, Member of Parliament, Tamale Central.
Wagwan.
Everything cool? Everything crisp?
Say Wagwan.
Me day pon. You thought you would catch me today. Good to have you. I see you've been out and about. Were you a part of the demonstration yesterday?
I was deeply part of the
You were deeply embedded in it. Before we get there, though, I did promise, and I'm going to deliver. I think it's the Finder newspaper. Is it the Finder newspaper? Kevin Prince Boateng admits to falsely endorsing Messi over Ronaldo for Barcelona move. Our very own KPB, Kevin Prince Boateng. He says back then when he endorsed Messi as the best in the world, it was just so he could get into the Barcelona team, which he did, which also tells you about the sort of propaganda that goes on. But he says he knows who the true great is.
No, it means Barcelona is a very strong team. That he was so desperate.
No, it means that propaganda propaganda is deep.
He was so desperate to be in the Barcelona team. So he had to lie. For me, it discredits him. The fact that Messi indeed scored more goals in the Spanish league, the period Ronaldo joined the Spanish league, Messi scored more goals than him.
I see.
That is a fact. Look, I have been saying that for us to do a proper assessment.
How about goal per match?
Hold on.
Have you looked at the goal per match ratio?
For us to do proper assessment, let's be very candid.
Messi was playing in Spain before Ronaldo came.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Forget of Messi when he was playing there before Ronaldo came. Ronaldo came to Real Madrid, played with Messi for 10 years. 10 years. They played against... Hold on. They played against the same opponents. Messi won the
Champions League.
Hold on. Messi won the league 7 times. Messi won the best player.
Talk about the Champions League.
Hold on. Why are you so... We are jittering.
I'm not jittering.
Forget of what Messi achieved before Ronaldo came and what Ronaldo achieved before he came. He came and played the same league with Messi. The same league, the same opponent, week in, week out.
Did Cristiano Ronaldo
I'm saying that week in, week out, and Messi won the league at least 7 times.
And how many times did he win?
I think 1 or 2 times. And Atletico
if
won
memory serves, it was about 3.
Okay, 3. So Messi...
And then the Copa del Rey. I mean, these are all matters that...
You are not even allowing me.
You are looking at different teams.
You started a battle. You started a battle. You are unwilling to let it proceed. I'm saying that proper assessment, forget of Champions League. Proper assessment is that they play the same league for 10 years. And out of the 10 years, competing for the same trophy.
Okay.
Messi won it at least 6 times. Hold on.
No problem.
Hold on.
No problem.
Won the best player at least 7 times. Won the European best player more than him. Scored more goals than him.
And
won World Cup.
And so CR7 left that league and still went and won it.
And won what? He left
the best player.
Which best player?
He left Spain and still got the
and where did he
still got the
where did he go and win?
And the point is, hold on.
He came back to Man U and won. You are not even getting your facts right.
Hold on.
He won it while he was in Man U.
Listen.
When he left, he never won.
You've spoken about the league.
Yes.
The Champions League.
They play the same league.
The Champions League. Who won more?
I'm talking of the same league.
Which is bigger? The Champions League or the Spanish League?
You know the reason.
But you're not answering the question. Which is bigger? Hold on. La Liga or the UEFA Champions League?
The argument is not about Real Madrid and Barcelona. The argument is about Messi and Ronaldo.
And I'm saying that the Champions League level.
Will you listen to me?
Barcelona's Messi was competing at the same time, wasn't he?
Your viewing public won't be happy.
Were they competing in the Champions League throughout the 10 years or not?
I'm answering you. The argument is not about Real Madrid and Barcelona. The argument is about the individual players and what they have achieved. And I'm saying that to be fair.
So the Champions League is not an achievement.
I'm saying that to be fair, for you to assess the achievement of each of them, let's look at the league they played against the same opponent week in, week out. And I'm saying that in that league, Messi scored more goals than Ronaldo.
Okay.
In that league, Messi won best player of that league several folds than Ronaldo. In that league, in the European League, Messi won best European player than him. Messi gave more assists than him.
In the Champions League.
So what are you talking about?
He was the top scorer for years on end.
Look, don't talk about
he won more.
I'm not talking about
Champions League than
and Champions League I won by clubs.
Okay, fine.
I am talking about individual achievements.
You are even talking about a local league versus a league in the entirety of Europe. How do you even make such an assessment?
Which entirety of Europe?
How do you even make such an assessment?
Which entirety of Europe?
When it's beyond La Liga, Serie A, the best teams in the Eredivisie and others coming, and you want to compare that to the local league.
When you talk of Champions League,
which is more problem?
Let me tell you, and when you talk of Champions League, you are talking about the achievement of teams. If you had told me within the Champions League, Ronaldo scored more goals
Cristiano
than Messi.
Ronaldo.
I will admit, hold on.
I made a point. No, hold on.
Ronaldo scored more goals in Champions League than Messi.
He did.
I will admit.
He did.
I'm reminding you, maybe you've forgotten.
Oh, but I made mention of that when you made the assertion.
But I am telling
I told you that is why I'm bringing in the Champions
telling you that in the same league they all play 10 years, 10 solid years. Competing for the same trophy. He scored more goals than him, one more best player than him. In fact, one best European player than him. It doesn't change. Gave more assists than him.
Okay.
Messi has won the World Cup. Ronaldo should,
a very rigged World Cup, by the way. But
rigged. Why was it rigged?
How many penalties did they take?
How many penalties did
after Saudi Arabia?
How many penalties did Mbappe score?
How many penalties did
How many penalties did he didn't even get that to be scoring penalties?
Look at you.
He didn't even get that.
5 penalties for your team.
I'm saying how many penalties
after the Saudi
did
Arabian
Mbappe
loss?
score? Mbappe, how many penalties? And you are trying to compare Mbappe with Messi. At the age of 24,
it's not a sports show.
At the age of 24, Messi had won Ballon d'Or.
When it comes to sports, we usually do this. So he's an Arsenal fan, by the way, and yesterday they lost.
Oh yeah, I support teams that play beautiful football. So it is not by accident that I support Arsenal, and my second team is Barcelona.
Ayo, we'll continue this conversation. Else we'll get into sports throughout. But Admona is a social activist.
Man U was given a raw deal.
A raw deal. Oh, but we won our match.
Man U. You were beaten yesterday.
You didn't?
You forgot.
Rasmus Højlund.
3-2. You didn't even. They beat you 3-2.
Oh, really?
You don't know?
Okay, then that's fine. I didn't watch past what Højlund did.
3-2.
At least
they beat you 3-2.
It's some good consolation that now.
You're not the team that beat
Charlie.
It's fine. It has nothing to do with.
This gentleman wants to. I didn't bring Man U into the picture. Why are you trying to do this?
Rashford to Saka? I have been telling you, don't do it. The dichotomy between Saka and Rashford is too wide.
I think in terms of current form, Saka is.
No,
but you cannot take
the
away.
difference
You cannot take away.
Is that like President Mohammed and Nanado as to their achievement?
Where you are going with this, it will only bring trouble. Bernard Mona is a social activist. He joins the conversation. Bernard, good morning. Mr. Mona, you would have to unmute, please.
You know, sometimes old age can tell on us. Particularly,
How old are you? How old are you?
It's good to have you join the conversation. Are you a football fanatic as well?
Only to the extent that I love domestic football.
Great, that's good to hear.
And then also that if there is football, it cannot go beyond Mourinho. So Mourinho is my institution of football.
Your all-time best.
Yes, wherever Mourinho is.
Some people will say that Pep has outdone him this time, but that's a conversation for another day. Today we are talking about the Occupy Bank of Ghana protest. I think I saw you there somewhere yesterday, right?
Don't think I was there.
You were in the thick of things. Okay, so in recent times, I've seen you participate in different demonstrations for different reasons. But I want to start off on this note, and I'll come to Murtala on the same note. Yesterday, the Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, yes, he was peeved, and he issued some invectives in Ghana. I'm sure you've seen that video. It's gone viral. What do you make of it? Even before we get into the purpose of the protest and everything. How do you feel about it? Because, look, there's a paper this morning that says the Ghanaian publisher who voted for this dishonorable man. That's how they couch it. That's how they couched it, and they had to take out. But with what he did, do you concur with those who feel it was very un-MP-like? What's your take?
If I have to be fair, I have not listened to it.
It's gone viral. You've not heard it.
To be honest, you know, I was virtually in the thick of things. Murtala will tell you that from the beginning till the end, I never got my phone. And after the program, I had to do a number of programs. so much that I got home almost 10 p.m.
Okay.
And this morning when I woke up, I've not glanced through any headlines, but dealt with, what do we call it? Media interviews. Your producer or contact person will tell you that it took them a long time to be able to reach me on phone. So sincerely, I have not come across anything.
Okay, so he used invectives, like I said, in Ghana. You know the usual things that would be said. I can't repeat them, but some have found them very distasteful. So since I guess you've not heard it,
what was he trying to? If you can make inferences without probably using the precise.
He was basically saying piss poor governance and matters related to that, and then he used the invectives in there, which I cannot repeat.
Well, sometimes when common sense cannot, and you know that, as I have said repeatedly, that anytime anyone finds common sense in the market and is offered for sale, we should buy it for some of our officials of state. Because it appears that common sense doesn't exist any longer in the nomenclature of some of our institutions. And to the extent that you expect basic things to be done. Look, for instance, Kofi Wampa, his only crime to this nation was that the CD to the dollar ratio was $1 to 4.2 Ghana cedis, and that inflation had reached 14.7%. All of us, and you can check the records, the literature abound. I was part of the people who raised our voices to hell, calling on President Mahama to sack the governor. And I was in Parliament when President Mahama came to deliver the State of the Nation address, and parliamentarians, particularly then opposition parliamentarians, were vociferous when he was speaking about the economy, and they told him to sack the governor. And his response was simple. You, Parliament, passed a law preventing me from sacking the governor. If you change the law, I will sack the governor. Dr. Wampa got the message and resigned. Today, take the common sense position and apply it. What would have been the situation today? Inflation is in excess of 40%. The depreciation of the cedi has gone beyond 5 cedi to the dollar. It is hovering around 12 to 13 cedis to the dollar. If you compare that to a situation where somebody had to resign because the cedi was 1 cedi to 4.2, inflation was 14.7%, and a situation today when inflation is hovering around 40% plus, in fact, it was 50 something, then you will ask yourself, what has happened to common sense?
So from where you sit, basically, some people are not acting in consonance with common sense, and the governor of the Bank of Ghana, by now, based on the analogy or the picture you've painted, should have stepped aside, basically, right?
Long time before we could even we could even get the report,
right,
that indicated that he has run the Bank of Ghana a ditch. As we speak, the Bank of Ghana is totally broke, is in liquidity crisis, and yet the Bank of Ghana is supposed to be the lender of last resort. Do you now understand why NIB has been put on sale with over 900,000 workers, 900 workers to be laid off? Because the Bank of Ghana cannot function as a lender of last resort to redeem the National Investment Bank. But what is the crime of the National Investment Bank? Minister for Finance and the governor, and by extension President Akufo-Addo, compel the NIB to give loans to contractors, majority of whom are MPP contractors. These contractors, having performed their part of the bargain, the government has not been able to pay them. And because the government has not been able to pay the contractors are unable, right? The contractors are unable to meet their obligations to the bank. Then you turn around to say that the bank is insolvent. You want to sell it. If the Bank of Ghana could function and was not broke as a lender of last resort, it would have known that anytime government pays the contractors will pay the bank.
Okay, I get the point you're making, but my question then is, does all of that substantiate what Francis Xavier Sosu said? And since you've not had the opportunity of listening to what he said, I think I'll just hold your horses. I'll come back to you because I see you're raring to go on the main matters for which the demonstration was held. Hold on for me. Let me come into the studio and interact with, you're a member of parliament, Tamale Central, and your colleague member of parliament rained those invectives. It's been trending on social media because some people feel the words were far too harsh. You can communicate without necessarily insulting, especially, it was grasping, it was grinding. What do you think? You have watched it, you have listened to it. What's your reaction?
I'm just wondering why this has become a very important topic to discuss.
It's important because some people feel he's a member of parliament, he's of very high standing. We even know per the constitution what the requirements are to even contest as a member of parliament. And people feel that maybe such utterances should not have come from him. That's the bottom line.
Aisu, a minister of state, then member of parliament, use similar words.
What did people say about it?
No, you didn't discuss it on your program. Against no less.
We didn't?
No, you didn't.
We didn't?
No, you didn't. If you have the evidence, prove it.
Which particular utterance?
You want me to repeat?
No, which particular? I'm not saying repeat it, but which one?
I don't want to repeat. In fact, she used those words against President.
Is it President?
Okay. And the entirety of the NDC, you remember, you didn't discuss it. So I'm wondering why.
What proof? I mean, how can you say that we didn't discuss these? On the platform, those things were discussed.
On TV, on our radio stations, you didn't discuss
Say maybe you didn't hear it.
No, you didn't. I'm a religious follower.
You're a religious follower, and you are sure that
yes.
Even your recent scuffle, we discussed that. So what makes you think we didn't discuss
about that
those?
one? We didn't discuss it. And I don't know why this should be a topic for discussion.
It's topical because people are talking about it.
In any case, I know my colleague. I know him. He's a very decent, very hardworking, very brilliant member of parliament who means well for his constituency, and I know the desire he has to assist, and he's been doing that. Look, yesterday I had a chat with someone who met me to present to me a program that they have. There is this, Arabic is now added into our curricula, and he had written a book, several books for schools, which have been approved by the Ghana Education Service. And then he met me. He met me in my office to have a discussion with me to see how we could also procure such books for our concerns. And I was shocked that he said that the MP for Medina had already indicated and set up a committee to provide those books for the students, particularly within the Muslim communities in his constituency. So he's been doing that. If you know how he began, this is somebody who had a humble beginning. Many people do not know that my colleague had lived in Agbogboloshi before, and he's been able to achieve what he has achieved.
He's been orphaned, he's risen through the ranks, he's suffered a lot, how he became a lawyer. We know the story.
Knowing him personally, he's a very decent-minded young person.
Actually, Murtala,
I watched the video.
You've just hit.
Let me finish.
You've just hit the very reason I am asking this question, because we know him.
Yes.
And we know of his utterances, and we know what he is like. So yesterday when he came out in that way, that was very unlike him.
If you watch the video, you can easily tell that he was joking. If you watch the video,
he was joking.
I watched the video from your colleague.
He was using those utterances, and you say he was joking.
But don't people use words utterances whilst they are joking? Joking is just your intent. I don't think that my colleague meant those, words he used. I really don't think so.
Have you spoken to him?
I haven't, because I just saw the video. When you told me, I admit, I told you that I haven't seen the video, and your producer showed me the video. I certainly will be speaking to him, and I will not be far.
So you've not spoken to him, and you think he was joking?
No, I mean, if you watch the video, you could easily tell that he was joking. I know him. I mean, I know him in Parliament. I know when he's serious. I know when he is joking. I've been with him for a very long time. As a member of Parliament, a colleague member of Parliament, we're in the same house, sitting, in the same chamber, having a lot of interactions and discussions for over 3 years.
So
almost 3 years now.
Right.
And knowing him as an NDC person,
right.
I've known him for more than a decade. So I can tell you that when I watched the video, you know, when your producer showed, I was laughing, and I said, well, I don't think that he meant.
Before we go for the jugular of the conversation, so if this had come from someone on the other side, let's say your party were in power and someone had said that, how would you find it?
If someone who knew the person very well, like I know my good friend, and such a person said, look, I know he was joking, he never meant it, who am I to question that? Of course, you should expect the usual politics that one may want to do, but I don't think that there will be any justification. And I would expect you to interview him, engage him, and if he was actually joking or he meant the words he used, you know, you would ideally, if you ask me, I would say maybe he could have avoided such jokes if indeed he was joking.
All right.
But right now that has become an issue of discussion, and those who know him, they know that he's a gentleman.
All right. Let's get into the thrust of the conversation from the standpoint of what was said about Dr. Ernest Addison, his running of the central bank, and some would say his running aground of the central bank, to the point where we have an over 60 billion Ghana cedi debt. It's monumental in recent times. If you look at the losses chalked in between 2017 and 2018 or 2019, thereabouts, and then the gains that were made and the gargantuan loss that has come to the state. Of course, that also impacts the work of the central bank, for which reason the minority embarked on this demonstration. Would you say, because you accuse the governor of not working in the interest of the country, of basically pandering to government, you call him a printer. I listened to Dr. Kasia Latoforsen call him a printer, that's what he knows, the printing business. What do you think were the wins from yesterday? You couldn't even present your petition to Dr. Ernest Addison. The minority leader had said that you wouldn't budge till you had done that, but you couldn't.
Well, first and foremost, everybody who works or who operates in this country, whether you work for the state or privately, there are rules and regulations governing your conduct as a citizen or even those who are not citizens in Ghana. We've all agreed collectively to charter the path of democracy, that when we were coming out with the 1992 Constitution, we said, look, we have tried and tested several systems of governance, and therefore we must have the hybrid, system where we blend both the parliamentary system and the presidential system or the executive system of governance. Be it as it may, we have institutions, and those institutions work for and on behalf of the people of this country. And those who have been appointed or elected to work in those institutions do so for the people of this country. And there are laws that should govern the conduct of everybody. If you read Article 183 of the 1992 Constitution, the heading is just Central Bank. If you look at the functions of the central banks, they have the Bank of Ghana shall, 1A, the first one. And lawyers will tell you that when you are looking at functions of an institution, it comes in an order of importance. The first one that comes says that A, promote and maintain the stability of the currency of Ghana, okay? And direct and regulate the currency system in the interest of the economic progress of Ghana. Promote and maintain the stability of the currency of Ghana. So if you look at the functions of the central bank, which is the bank of government, which is the last lending resort, it is the bank that every bank in this country or financial institutions operate under the dictates of the central bank. And if one of the most important functions of that bank is to promote and maintain the stability of the currency of Ghana, what it means is that any time that bank fails to honor or to live up to this expectation as captured in Article 183 of the 1992 Constitution, it means that those who man the affairs of the central bank positions will no longer be tenable. I hope you agree with me. Because if that is your core,
their positions will not immediately be tenable.
It won't be tenable.
I mean, in the past, then when we have come into those circles, then all of those governors should have resigned as well.
In this fourth republic, we have never gotten...
From Agama to...
saying that
this may be the first point where we are incurring such losses. But you cannot say that in terms of stability of the currency, we have not had issues.
I'm not talking of losses. I say in this fourth republic, we have never gotten to this stage. I'm not talking of the stability.
Must we necessarily get to this point before you call for someone?
I'm saying that we have never gotten to this stage. So the attempt to say that we have experienced this is utterly not true. We have never
How not true?
We have never gotten to the stage where we have to change $1 to the city up to 15 cities. And today, by your own media, it's about 11.60. We have never gotten to this stage. So I'm saying that that shows the difference. And two, we have never had a central bank that has incurred debt up to 60.8 billion. We have never had that.
They'll tell you that is on the back of the exigencies and having to bail out.
They should give us a break. There are exigencies.
They were bailing out government.
There are exigencies at any time. So you see, that is why you are supposed to be independent, that do not succumb to the pressure from the executive. And the person who is there, who says that, look, I succumb to the pressure from the executives by doing things that I ought not have done. It means that you are not independent, you are not fit to be there.
But how independent have they been throughout the Fourth Republic?
It doesn't mean...
You, the politicians, are the same... The same manipulative forces, are you not?
It doesn't matter. The fact that some have failed to be independent does not mean we cannot be calling for this one to be independent.
That is
Our
true.
democracy is evolving. Our democracy is evolving to the extent that you expect them to do so. So I have started using the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The first function is that they must promote and maintain the stability of our currency.
Okay.
They didn't say stability of the economy. The stability of the economy certainly cannot be limited to just the governor of central bank. It is the responsibility of the Minister for Finance, the one who is in
economic management team.
Economic money. I mean, what a team. A very useless team. Absolutely useless.
Is that a fair
absolutely
thing?
Useless.
For example,
it is useless.
Within this IMF period, yes, we have gone to the IMF. There are certain benchmarks we should have met. They are trying to meet them and all
not
of that.
Benchmark.
Can you call them useless?
Not benchmark. The money we have borrowed and nothing to show. The monies we have borrowed, the indebtedness, the thievery, the stealing that is masterminded by those who live at the Flagstaff House. It is beyond corruption. If the Flagstaff House can criminally add $800 million, and I repeat, $800 million into a merry renegotiation deal, but for the vigilance of the NDC members in Parliament, that thing would have gone through, and that over $800 million would have been in someone's pocket.
But
that document was
somewhere Boachie Jacko explained.
But he said it. Yes,
that happened.
It doesn't still matter.
At that time.
But one thing he confirmed is that thing was done at the Flagstaff House. The over $800 million.
I don't think specifically he mentions Flagstaff House or Jubilee House. But he mentions certain names.
I'm saying, but where do they operate? That thing happened at the Flagstaff House. And mind you, the MPP won the elections at the back of series of allegations against the NBC, and Ameri was one. And when they came, renegotiating that deal, they criminally, supervised by the president and the vice president, to add over $800 million into that deal. Anybody who signs letters for and on behalf of the president, any letter he signs for which reason, it got to the Minister of Finance, and this criminal addition of $800 million to it is a thief. It's a thief. And let's call a spade a spade.
So
I'm saying that.
Let
me just focus on the central bank. Let me just conclude on it. I am saying that central bank, that responsibility which the central bank governor and the central bank is supposed to honor to the people of this country, as stated in Article 183, has been completely violated. Now, let's look at even the project. You have a debt of 60.8 billion. Now, you see, that wouldn't be an issue. It's possible that central banks can incur debts. It's possible. But you see, when you are facing such challenges, at a time when you are expecting the people of this country to tighten their belts, you spend 131 million on vehicular maintenance. Why are they using Lamborghini, Chryslers, Rolls Royce? Is that the vehicles they use? That they should spend $131 million a year to maintain those vehicles. 97 million on foreign and domestic travels. At a time when the president himself directed that all government appointees and ministers should cease from traveling except that which are very, very important. By the way, the president himself doesn't even honor his directives. And another thing, 357 million on banking supervision. Why? Are they supervising all the banks in Africa? Mind you, people are working within the central banks who are paid by the state to perform these functions. They have a duty to perform these functions. So if they have a duty to perform these functions and they are paid at the end of the month, yet they will go and spend extra 357 million.
So I think I get your point.
Let me I'm concluding on one. No, just a second. I beg you. It's important because you are a media man.
You've been concluding.
I want you to sincerely tell me. I want you to sincerely tell me. Doesn't the Bank of Ghana has a public relations department? They do. Yet the Bank of Ghana claimed they spent $32 million. 32 million Ghana cedis on communication. Isn't that ridiculous? 257 million Ghana cedis and $2 million on gold watches. Gold watches. At a time when you are telling it, and that building they are putting up, that key, that gold key, whatever,
the 250
that building, go and check
the 250 million.
Go and check the directors of that company. They have relations directly to the president and the minister for finance. That company, go and check.
You have proof of that.
Go and check. I am challenging you as a media man.
No, but I am
challenging you.
You cannot just come here.
Look, I am challenging. Okay,
we can run our checks, but I'm telling you,
I am
based on what
that,
are you saying?
I want you to run your checks to find out the directors to that company and find out the relations of those directors to the president and the minister for finance. Go and check.
Murtala, all I'm saying is, if you're sitting here alleging it must mean your foot is on something. Do you know this for a fact?
If a blind man says he will
do you know this for a fact?
If a blind man says he will throw stones at you,
don't quote
he's
Proverbs.
Stepping on it.
Don't quote Proverbs at me. Do you know this for a fact?
I am saying that I have my information and I have no doubt whatsoever.
You have your information.
I have no doubt whatsoever.
What's your source?
Why must I tell you my source? I won't tell you my source now. I am telling you as a journalist and as a media house that go and find out the gold keys, that company, and find out the number of contractual agreement governments have had with them, contracts that have been given to them, and find out whether the award of this contract was not through sole sourcing.
All right.
The award of this Bank of Ghana was not through sole sourcing.
Let me bring into the conversation Paul Grave Wachedankwa. Paul Grave Wachedankwa is government spokesperson on governance and security. Paul Grave, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Benjamin, and to your studio guest.
How are you doing? I hope you're well.
Well, under the circumstances, I'm mourning my mom, but I'm doing very well.
Mama Teresa.
Yeah, Mama Teresa and my biological
and your own mom as well.
Well, very much. Yeah.
Our condolences on both of them. I mean, very sad developments, and we condole with you. But this morning, it's pretty fiery up here in the studio because yesterday, I'm sure you are aware, there was the Occupy Bank of Ghana demonstration, the protest launched by the NDC. And I'm sure you've listened in and heard some of what Murtala has said about the central bank's poor, pathetic performance and how we've ended up here and why the chief architect, the governor himself, should step aside. What's your reaction?
So, Benjamin, a very good morning to you and to my very good friend, Murtala Mohammed. We haven't met in a while.
I think you are chopping, you are not asking of me.
I'm glad that we can be able to have this opportunity to engage. To be honest, Benjamin, I'm certain that the NDC side of the minority had a demonstration which was guided by the Ghana Police Service. It was an incident-free demonstration. The routes that were allocated to them, they observed those routes as well. The issues that they brought up in terms of Bank of Ghana, there was some statements that were made as well yesterday by Bank of Ghana in terms of zero financing of government from 2017, 2018, and 2019. It was only financing of government during the COVID pandemic. I think that it's important in the moments of governance that a call for a step aside of a governor who has managed the policies very well is not needed at this stage in the trajectory of the turnaround of the Ghanaian economy. The NDC have laid out their claims. Bank of Ghana has brought the report out, which is very clear and very confident to assure the Ghanaian people that this administration has been extremely credible. We made statements of the BOG's financial condition, which does not impact on its operations. Very clearly that yesterday we made the statements of the zero financing of government as I stated earlier on from 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, 2021. Also made statements of the fact that the BOG provided financing only to government in the pandemic, which was global, the year 2020 and then the crisis in 2022. We also stated that every single act of what Bank of Ghana had done was within the applicable laws of Ghana. I have been very concerned with the position of the NDC side of Parliament because, central banks are not commercial banks, and I'm sure that the Honorable Aisu Fortin, who was,
I'm sure we're all privy to that information. Their
yes.
portfolio is different.
Yes, no, very much so. But I mean, it's important that we put that in perspective, that there was no money that was lost by Bank of Ghana in its operations 2022. Bank of Ghana has always acted in good faith, really, in the broader interest of the Ghanaian people. And there are profits that the Bank of Ghana has made.
The point to be made, though, the profits that have been made. Just Paul Grave, if you may indulge me.
2019 to 2021.
Paul Grave, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. For the 2 years or so, when we actually the central bank, did not incur losses. If you look at the sums involved and then you put that side by side, you do the juxtaposition with the 60.8 billion that was lost. Of course, not all of it on the back of, dealing with government's issues, financial issues. But if you look at the 50 plus billion involved there, how do you wrap your mind around that? Experts in the financial sector have said that it will take us a long time to be able to recover. And you know that as part of the role of the central bank, they are the last point of resorts for banks that, are in crisis. This impedes the very work the central bank is meant to do. And you say that is not a problem?
No, I mean, very much. I mean, central bank losing of the money, government has communicated around that. That we went through a strong debt restructuring. The entire Ghanaian economy had to go through a debt restructuring, and the Bank of Ghana was not exonerated in the domestic debt restructuring estate. No doubt that within the shortest possible time, our government would be able to recover all losses that have been made by the Bank of Ghana. I always wish that the processes of trying to allay conversations in the midst of the governance process should not be one going on the streets. I mean, I know that demonstrations are a civil right of every single Ghanaian, but for people in Parliament, you can call the Bank of Ghana governor to come to the floor of Parliament to answer questions for you. You can even call the Minister for Finance to come to the floor of the House, in addition to the Bank of Ghana governor, to bring these issues for you. I think that the result to continually be on the street, to be heard by government, shouldn't be the approach, because a government of President Nana Addo Dankwa is continually a listening government, but listening to the plight and challenges of the Ghanaian people, and we try to address these plights and challenges.
Thank you for those submissions, Paul Grave. Let me bring in Bernard Mona now. Bernard, from where you sit, do you concur with the thoughts of Murtala, some of what he's shared on the central bank? You joined the demonstration, so that must mean that you think he must go. But why exactly? On what points exactly did you join this protest yesterday?
First, let me take it from where Palgrave ended, and that I'm disappointed that Palgrave of all would have the illusion that President Akufo-Addo is a listening president. A president that anytime we talk about the graft in his government, he comes to tell us that we are making noise and that his appointees are the best. You recall the issues relating to Sputnik V and what he went to say at the minister's constituency, that those of us who are calling for the head of the minister, who himself admitted that his senses took leave of him at a time when he was signing a contract, will say that we are making noise despite the enormous financial burden that this nation has suffered. You recall the issues relating to Bost, where he told us that he had cleared the person. You recall the issues relating to Australia visa scandal, where Pius Enam Ajide, as a deputy minister, was axed of office. At the end of the day, the scandal still persists, but no culprit found, and yet the people who did this are appointees of government. The list of the many things that President Akufo-Addo will come and wash and really wash cannot be counted. So to have somebody, well, this is what he is paid for, so I can sympathize with him. In sympathizing with him, let me sympathize with my brother Palgrave on the loss of his mother. And then probably to assure him that when the date is certain and is not conflicting with any other thing, I will join in mourning his mother. But he should desist from wanting to come and throw such iron filings in the eyes of the people of Ghana. Obviously, as I started in my introduction, if Kofi Wampa could go because inflation was 14.7%, Kofi Wampa had to go because the cedi had depreciated 4.2 cedis to $1. Then there cannot be justification for Addison to continue to be in office when inflation is hovering around 13%, 13 cedis. Inflation is hovering over 40%, and depreciation of the currency almost 13 Ghana cedis to $1.
So it's around 11.6.
Obviously, this could constitute the basis upon which a governor that is actually has any integrity should go. Beyond that, as I said, are you aware that about 900 workers of National Investment Bank are going to suffer job losses simply because the bank is having liquidity challenges? The Bank of Ghana is supposed to serve as the lender of last resort. So in crisis of this magnitude, the bank comes to the rescue of financial, investment, commercial, and development banks. The Bank of Ghana itself is in loss. It's trying to overcome its difficulties. So how will it act as a lender of last resort in this monumental crisis that other banks will find themselves? But like I said, the bank knows that NIB is owed by persons related and closer to President Akufo-Addo and his government. And the government owes these contractors. And that if 10 of such contractors were even paid and they make good their indebtedness to NIB, NIB will be solvent enough to be able to function. So why would the governor not support the bank to be on its feet in the hope that government, despite the fact that they owe, government will certainly pay and NIB will be resuscitated? We are going to suffer job losses. Such a person is not competent to be a governor in any jurisdiction. The second point you want to make, I think that Murtala highlighted, that look, if you have a negative equity of 55%, 55 billion, what that simply tells you is that, look, you have run down your reserves and your country finances are in negatives. What the governor will want to do in situations of financial difficulties is that they are going to print more money. When you print more money, then it means that you have lots of money chasing limited goods and services in your economy. that will lead to further inflation. See, your incomes have not increased for the last 2 years. And so when you have inflation and prices of goods and services rising, when you match that with your stagnant and midget income, Massa, your cost of living is escalating by the day.
And so for you, that is enough reason for the central bank's governor to step aside. Some have said that in the circumstances, he rather need to stay put, as they have been there, done that, with the institutional memory to get us out of where we are. Do you disagree?
Oh, there were people before him. If Kofi Wampa went, did the bank collapse after Kofi Wampa went?
Interesting.
If Dr. Nasser went, you remember, Dr. Nasser was there. He was compelled to leave office, and Addison took over. Institutional memory was of no significance at that time. What has happened to the cliche we have the men?
Interesting point you make. Hold for me, Bernard. And Paulgrave, if you're with me, I'll give you ample opportunity to respond to these. I know that Murtala will have to take leave of us at some point. But what are your concluding remarks in terms of what this has really gained? I reiterate, the governor did not receive your petition. You had actually mentioned yesterday that, per what I had heard from the minority leader, that you would not budge until you had presented it to the governor. You could not do that. Well, what then is the next step? The series of demonstrations? Is that what is going to change the situation?
We're profoundly disrespected.
Profoundly disrespected. This morning, just indulge me. Dr. Kwame Asante said something, and I feel it makes sense. You're basically saying you're not doing your job well, you are incompetent and all of that, and you want the very person you're accusing to accept your petition. It's like saying, indeed, I am not, and I am going to step aside. Why not present it to the appointing authority at the Jubilee House, the president?
Where my prof got it wrong is that it is not just any group of persons. This is Parliament of Ghana, the people's representatives. The governor of Bank of Ghana is there working for us. And therefore, if even we accuse him, which is justified, of not living up to expectation, the least he could do was to have asked his deputy ministers, deputy governors, to come for the petition. Instead, he brought chief watchman. He brought the chief watchman at the Bank of Ghana.
I think.
Oh, but security person is watchman. That's a fact.
He's a security person.
But why?
He's in charge of security.
What is the difference between that and?
I mean, are we disrespecting? No. I think we have gone past. I feel you are being sarcastic. And I don't think.
How do you feel that way?
Address him, but that's not his title, is it?
I feel you have a motive.
But that is not his title.
I feel you have. Why?
Is that the person's title?
What is the difference between?
Title?
What is the difference between security man and a watchman?
Why are you
I'm asking
intentionally?
You.
No. Why are you intentionally using that word when that was not what was used in the person's portfolio?
If you see it in derogatory terms, I haven't. I don't see it that way. I have very good friends whose educations were paid by watchmen, and I respect that. I'm saying that you do not do that, with all due respect. The least he could do. Look, he mentioned, Mona just mentioned Dr. Nash, who did fantastically well, and under his leadership, the city never got to 4 cities. And he granted interviews to you people anytime you wanted him. Sometimes he came into your studios. That is how those whose comfort are ensured by our taxes are supposed to behave. We petitioned against the governor of Bank of Ghana. We came there, and you feel that the chief watchman should come and attend to us. Absolutely disrespectful. And we made it very clear that what happened yesterday was just a tip of the iceberg. Look, we will engage in this demonstration, and it's going to be mammoth. The next time we come out, it is going to be monumental until he personally comes, or at least one of his deputies come to take the petition. Why? Regardless how you feel about how people express their sentiments and convictions about your administration, your comfort is ensured by the people we represent. So it is not just about, that's why I disagree with my Professor Dr. Kwame Asante. I disagree with him because we are not just any group of persons. We are talking about Parliament. Look, Parliament
until maybe a deputy, until the governor or maybe a deputy receives you'll continue with
Absolutely.
this.
Parliament has the capacity to invite the governor of Bank of Ghana to Parliament. We have the capacity.
Which is what Paul Grave was saying you should be doing.
No, why? We have also chosen to do what we did, and Article 21, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution gives us the right to do so. And contrary to the view that is being held by many, it is not that you must use it as last resort. You can decide to use demonstration as your first resort. You can decide to use demonstration as the first step to ensure that your concerns are addressed.
So you think petitioning the president will achieve nothing?
I mean, when a fish is going to rot, the rotting starts from the head. I told you the thievery starts from the presidency. The corruption, everything starts from the presidency. So what do you expect others to do? I have just read to you what Article 183 of the 1992 Constitution says. That the most important function, as a matter of fact, the first function of the Central Bank of Ghana or the Central Bank is to promote our currency and ensure its stability. Now, this man has not been able to do that. That is enough to get him out.
Okay, so
now, if
you're corroborating the point, but Admona makes that the exchange rate at the time, and we're talking about the dollar, stood at around 4 cedis, 20 pesos. And you look at
where?
He was referring to
it
Dr.
It never got to even 4 cedis under Dr. Nash.
Please, I'm merely quoting what Bernard Bona says.
No, but
and then you look at inflation, an inflationary rate of around 14%, okay? And then you look at the current situation, then you realize that things have really got out of hand. But he is saying that if Dr. Wampa stepped aside based on this, that's the point he makes, then this is many times more, including the losses that have been incurred. And that is the reason for which the central bank's governor ought to go.
This man will said the belligerence. Look, I have told you, if I were him, I would just resign.
But you're not.
Or the president.
But you're not.
Of course.
And he's
if
deciding.
If the chief comes home, if the chief comes home with weird haircut, what do you expect his subjects to do? They'll go and do tapejo. If you have a president who says that those of you who are calling for certain reshuffles to be done or for certain individuals to be changed, if you are doing so because you don't have jobs. Didn't the president tell us that? Because we don't have jobs, including civil society organizations who made those calls. So the president is unwilling to have any changes. He is unwilling to let this man to go. Dr. Nash was forced out.
All right. So before
that's what they did.
Before you move on, what is the end game? Just give me the end game.
The end game is that this is just the tip of an iceberg. We are going to embark on series of demonstrations.
When is the next one?
And in fact, the next one is going to be huge.
When is the next one?
And if they don't take time, it will be.
Do you have an inkling? Do you have an idea when it's?
Well, I don't think that I'll sit on this program to say what the next moves is. If you listen to the minority leader, he said yesterday that we shall be meeting as a caucus, and we shall take a decision as to when the next demonstration is going to be. But I can say that it may not be long. We would embark on this demonstration. Our taxes ensures the comfort of Dr. Addison. Our taxes ensures the comfort of the 2 incompetent deputies who are working with him. And therefore, when we gave him that reverence, by not even inviting him to come to Parliament, expressing our constitutional right to demonstrate, we got there, we were expecting him to come to pick it. They refused to come. We had to walk to the premises of the Bank of Ghana, only for him to ask the chief watchman to come and attend to us is completely unacceptable. My constituency chairman just sent me a text. He's a diehard Man U fan. He sent me a text. It's just like you, that by Arsenal was also beaten. I agree. We're beaten 2-1.
I can't believe you. Jack Zom says, honestly, though the NDC may have performed better than the MPP overall, however, both have underperformed. Let me.
The dollar. We didn't take the dollar.
You've had your bite. I just knew you were tempted.
How did we underperform?
Ensnared by that.
No, this attempt of all politicians, we are not the same.
Okay, I hear you.
Attempt to say that.
Let me bring in Paul Grave.
We are not the same.
Thank you so much.
And Paul Grave says that you have a listening. Even Paul Grave, does he listen to you? This guy has suffered for this party. This guy he doesn't even have an office, yet he's supposed to be.
I don't hear
no,
Paul Grave. I don't hear Paul Grave complaining.
Is driving his own.
I don't hear Paul Grave.
This guy has suffered for this party. One of the most decent and intelligent communicators.
He is the government spokesperson on security and governance.
Security and governance. Ask him whether they even gave him an office, and ask him how much they pay him. Ask him.
Paul Grave. I'm not going to ask you those questions. I don't want to put you in a very difficult position. This is a descendant
of Dankwa. That is Dankwa's grandson.
Right.
They disregarded this gentleman. They don't even have time for this gentleman.
Paul Grave, any reactions on these matters? The demonstrations will continue, according to the NDC, and they are saying that they've been disrespected. And until the right thing is done, the governor or his deputy receives their petition, they will not stop. Your take?
Benjamin, I'm grateful. I think that it's important to state that there were no mention of gold watches in the annual report of Bank of Ghana. That has to be stated clearly. And also to commend the IGP, Dr. Dampari, and the entire Ghana Police Service for ensuring that the NDC side of the minority had a peaceful demonstration. I will state that it's important that the NDC side of minority in Parliament does not try to turn their intellectual opportunity to enact laws and make sure that systems are working in the country to go into the streets. I mean, I'm glad that my friend Murtala alluded to the fact that they can invite the Bank of Ghana governor to the floor of the House. And I think that would be a better result for them to take. I do not wish that...
Which options to trigger, and they are choosing their options based on what they feel is workable. They wouldn't use the last resort, they would use it as a first resort.
Well, I would ask that the NDC side of minority in Parliament should try as much as possible that we continue to uphold the tenets of parliamentary discourse and the integrity of Parliament. It will be good for them to invite the Bank of Ghana governor. And it's sad to say that if the Bank of Ghana head of security is asked to receive a petition, I think it's sad to state and reduce the argument that he's a watchman. I mean, I think that
I dealt with that situation.
Yes,
so let's move past it.
But really to state that if that is the route that they want to go, the Ghanaian people are observing the alternatives, and very clearly to see that the NDC is not an alternative in terms of rule of law, in terms of discipline, in terms of conduct, to be able to even be given an opportunity in the 2025 new government.
But Paul Grave, hold for me. You know, we're having just hold for me. You speak about the rule of law. I can name many instances where the rule of law has not ruled. You speak about, at least in this instance, we are focusing on the financial sector. You look at where we are. We are in uncharted territory when it comes to our economy currently. I don't remember, in the Fourth Republic, we've never hit a snag like this when it comes to inflation, at least as high as it is currently, the highs of 50 plus. We've not hit these levels when it comes to where the CD has fallen to. At some point, the ignominious record of the worst currency in the world. Our economy is on the ropes. We're back with the IMF. So what exactly are you comparing to what?
So you see, Benjamin, we haven't hit any of these. Do you know why? Because in the beginning of the Fourth Republic, in 1992, 1993, the entire globe did not have a global pandemic called COVID-19. In 2000,
other governments have had to weather the storm of other problems, Paul Grave. You cannot pick and choose. Other administrations have gone through dangerous situations and they haven't complained.
Did not have a global pandemic. In 2015, the entire globe did not have a global pandemic. From 2017, the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo recorded a single-digit inflation. 2018, the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo recorded a single-digit inflation. In 2019, the government of
What is the inflation now? What is the inflation now?
Single-digit inflation.
Paul Grave.
2020.
Paul Grave. What is the inflation now? Inflation now is 40.1%. Your currency is still flip-flopping.
That this government, even in the midst of this pandemic, this government, even running an IMF program, has been more credible. This government has been more resourceful. This government has been more, in terms of...
You have had more resources than any government in the Fourth Republic. More resources at your disposal. How much did you even get from COVID-19? How much? You know the figures.
Benjamin,
I know the figures.
No, I'm saying how much. You know
this
the figures.
Government, if you want to have a proper comparative analysis, compare the challenges that this government has been falling with, compare the challenges that the then NDC was befallen with, and compare who has been better. I state on authority that our government and the government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, even in the midst of a global pandemic and recovering very strongly from COVID-19 and the plunging of Russia in Ukraine, and even under an IMF program, our government has continually ensured that schools are ongoing. Our governments are continually ensured that pumps are flowing. Governments are continually ensured that the lights are on.
I'd like to run this by you.
That the young people have an entrepreneurial opportunity.
Okay, you can go through your list. The young people will, in the end, determine that. A lot of them are going to be voting in the next election. But let me just run this analogy by you. Sometimes what the rest of you don't see out there when we're on television is that there could be utter chaos. Some things are not going well from production, direction, and you may not have your guests and all of that. Do you know what makes a good presenter? One who is able to put on a brave face and go through the motions without a lot of you even knowing that maybe some things are not going well behind the scenes, because it's not just sitting here. Likewise, when it comes to leadership, it's not about the talk. Leaders are put in place for situations like this one, what we find ourselves in. A leader is not a leader by name. A leader is the one who can go through dire circumstances and get the people out. That is why the Roosevelts and the others are celebrated today, because of what they went through. So if you tell me that you are supposed to be a leader and there's a crisis, and because of that crisis you are no longer performing, then you are basically saying we don't have those leaders.
The jury is out there for the Ghanaian people to know. And I tell you of the truth. In the midst of the challenges that we have been betrothed with as a Ghanaian people, our government has won that brave and confident faith to wake up every single day to make sure that we make this economy thrive stronger and stronger. And I think that if we have a bigger opportunity and more time, we would expand on the work that we have done, even after the pandemic, for the Ghanaian people to see how bold and how courageous our government has been in the midst of these leadership hurdles that we have had. I state in concluding.
Right.
Benjamin, that the NDC and the NDC side of minority should restrain and go back to the chamber, invite the Bank of Ghana governor, invite the Minister for Finance. The people that they represent do not want them on the street. This Ghanaian economy.
Join them on the streets. The people they represent, some of them joined them on the streets. So you may not be speaking for all those people.
Benjamin, did you see the numbers?
I did. They were not bad numbers.
Okay. I didn't know that you've become a judge.
Well, I have an opinion, don't I?
Taking a side.
No, but I have an opinion. You are talking about numbers. You are not talking about the facts. You are talking about numbers. And I'm saying that was not a bad number, unless you would tell me it was a bad number.
Bad number compared to what?
Well, you brought up the conversation. So what is your standard? What is your benchmark?
No, you said that they represent...
And since you want to go there, Paul Grave, let me just say this. Since you want to go there, let me just say this. If one Ghanaian
of the minority
Paul Grave,
who represent thousands,
our Constitution 21 says it gives the right to people to demonstrate. If all people or many people feel a certain sentiment, but only one person puts up a placard and goes somewhere and demonstrates, that one Ghanaian voice, opinion counts. So even if two people go somewhere and demonstrate, it is reflective by and large of what other people feel. You cannot water down or underrate that and say that maybe because it's 100 people or 200, it is not consequential. I think that is dangerous, but that's your choice.
So that's not the narrative I'm wanting.
Then why the discussion on numbers?
That's not the narrative I want to put there. The narrative really, very strongly, is that they should call the Minister for Finance and the Bank of Ghana governor to come to the floor of the House to give responses to the issues. And if the Bank of Ghana governor and the Bank of Ghana as an institution has asked their head of security to pick up the petition, I think that it's important that they give that to the Bank of Ghana.
All right.
Because you see, it's an institution they are dealing with, not a personality.
All right.
It's
Paul
an
Grave.
institution, not personality.
Point made. Thank you so much for joining the discussion. I'll wrap with Bernard Mona. Bernard, you have the final take, and then we'll draw the curtains on this conversation. You've listened to both sides. You've listened to Murtala. You've listened to Paul Grave. Your concluding comments.
Again, I heard you ask Palgrave, what is the scorecard now, when he was touting 2017, 2018 as the economic achievements of their government. Clearly, every watcher of the economies across the world would have been told that Ghana's economy was going to grow without anything being done in 2017. And that things were going to be better because the major crisis that hit Ghana was the energy crisis. And it was conclusively dealt with by 2016. And therefore, most industries, including even media houses, were going to perform at optimum capacity. That will certainly leap the economy from its negativity to positivity. So Palgrave will have to go and revise his theories. Secondly, Palgrave is behaving like somebody who has moved from JHS, right, and gone to secondary school. And at secondary school, he's performing poorly. And then they ask you, why are you performing poorly? Then his response is that, go and check my JHS results. I'm a very good student. Or somebody from SHS who might have obtained the best result and in the university is not able to find his feet and is failing. When they ask you, why are you failing? Then you say, oh, you don't know that I'm a good student. Go and check my performance at SHS. Certainly, this kind of analogy by spokespersons of government is an insult to the people who are facing economic crisis at this time. Things have run out of hand. The handlers of the economy, particularly the monetary side, have simply shown gross incapacity of handling the situation. We are not calling, under normal circumstances, if banks, other banks with liquidity crisis could be forced to close down. In fact, could be closed down, not could be forced to close down, could be closed down. With the liquidity challenge we have at the Bank of Ghana, but for the fact that it is at the central bank, that one should close down. And so because we cannot close it down, we say that those who have run us a ditch should leave office for other persons to come in. Probably a Palgrave could be appointed and could perform better and to leap and to inject more confidence. The other part that people say is that why are we asking the governor to go when the governor is appointed by the president? Every Ghanaian must know this, that the president will tell us that by an act, he is stopped from dismissing the governor. Not so. And so if you go and ask president to dismiss the governor and you take your protest to the doorsteps of the president will simply tell you that, no, you have come to the wrong avenue. And so what you have to do is to get to the governor himself and to say that your appointer cannot dismiss you, but you can dismiss yourself by resigning. And that is what we are doing, that we know where the action must start from. And that is why we are at the central bank governor. And I heard you saying that you don't agree with the description of the retired wing commander, Asare Boateng, as a watchman. In fact, he's a chief watchman. My father was a watchman. It doesn't take away from the fact that he's a watchman.
I think we all know that sometimes there are some terminologies that are used in this context that carry a certain derogatory tint. Though
it is not. My father was a watchman.
Hold for me, Bernard. And I also want to believe that you caught the sarcasm in Murtala's commentary, unless you want to say you didn't catch it.
No,
Which is why I put it to him that he should address him by his official title rather than try to use other terminology.
Benjamin, I stated this probably first on the platform yesterday. If you listen to my speech, I said that we were met by a watchman, and my father was a watchman. And you know that I have high regards for my father and whatever he has done for me with his poor income. He made me what I am. But simply, it's a watchman. I mean, how do you explain a security to my village mother?
Point made, Bernard.
So the man was a watchman. And watchmen don't have access to anything within the bank. They actually protect the exterior, not the interior of the bank. So, and yesterday, if you also were there or your reporters would have told you, at the time when he finished, I said, you were a watchman. You refuse to catch the thieves that have run down the economy, and you are here to arrest a petition for them. You are not competent to so receive it. And so that is the level to which they brought us.
Okay,
but don't forget that
our time has run out. But Bernard, I just want to find out from you. Our time has run out, but I just want to find out from you. Are you going to join subsequent protests against the Bank of Ghana?
Oh, Arise Ghana is already called for a meeting this morning. We are going to meet to review what happened yesterday. And then thereafter, we'll take it up to the next level. We certainly think that by the insult that was meted out on us, if the governor knows what is good for him, he should step aside before the mass of our society gather. Finally, let me conclude in thanking the IGP. Let me thank COP Yohunu, Mohammed Shiraj, Habibata, the regional commander, Dr. Garba. Yesterday, they showed professionalism. There were instances that I personally encountered where protesters would not agree that the road should be barricaded. They wanted to search further. And the police stood because that was the route we did. And then the insults and verbal abuses. In one instance, I had to go and meet Mahama Yarga at the place trying to control the people, join them in singing and told them that let's turn the direction that the police said we should turn, because our ultimate aim was to get to the Bank of Ghana and not to start at the Adabraka intersection. So we're wasting time. Right. So clearly yesterday, professionalism was at play and we commend them. And so anytime the Ghana Police Service does something positive, trust us. All right. We want to see our democracy mature.
Right.
But we will not allow anybody to come and beat us in our attempt to secure the maturation of our democracy.
Thank you,
This
Bernard.
time around, if you beat us, we'll beat your children.
If they beat you, you beat their children.
Certainly.
I don't know what that means.
If you beat us unjustly, we will beat your children.
How do you mean?
Why? Our children go to school with their children, so we know each other. We live in the same community. So if you choose to beat us unjustly, don't think that we'll leave it there.
Admona, let's hang it here, please. No beating on the AM show. But Admona is a social activist. He got me laughing there. Murtala Mohammed joined the conversation earlier. He's Member of Parliament for Tamale Central. We also had joining the conversation government's spokesperson on governance and security, Palgrave Wachedankwa. Once more, our condolences to you on the loss of your mother. Well, stay with us on the AM show. We still have a lot coming your way. Of course, we know of the Love FM Habitat Fair in Kumasi. Well, one of those aiding us to bring that to you is the Republic Bank. Today we're going to be talking about the ultra low interest on CD mortgages. You're thinking of owning your own home, right? You don't want to miss that conversation. And guess who? Yes, Bernice Abu-Lansa is on hand. She's up next on the AM show.
Thank you so much for staying on the AM show. I'm Bernice Abu-Lansa. It's such a pleasure to have you here. And you know, here at Joy News and on the AM show, you matter to us. Everything we do is about you. And our flagship program, the Habitat Fair, started some weeks ago. We brought you the clinics. The main event will come off later. But we also want to talk about other housing needs and opportunities that are available. And today I will be sharing with you Republic Bank's ultra low interest on, guess what, CD mortgages, not dollar mortgages, CD mortgages. And now they're proud sponsors of the Love FM Habitat Fair in Kumasi. So Kumasi, you're not left out. We are coming to you pretty soon. And I've been joined by Frank Opongyeboa. He's manager mortgage business at Republic Bank. Hello, good to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
Right. I mean, I'm always excited when we have to share the opportunities available to our audience in terms of housing needs and what's available on the market. So tell us about this decision to have not only CD mortgages but ultra low ones.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Benis, and good morning to your listeners and viewers, as well as Republic Bank customers. What Republic Bank is seeking to do is that we would like to offer a lower rate in the midst of the upsurge of interest rate. We know that recently interest rates have gone up so high, and currently Ghana reference rate, which is GRR, is 31%. At 31%, it means that it is difficult for any bank to lend below that 31%, and any other margin the banks put on increases the rate. So if the bank puts on even 4%, means that the interest rate will go to 35%. And that is making, one, very difficult for people to access mortgage to buy their own houses. Two, those who have the mortgages running are also having a challenge honoring their repayment, because if your interest rate is variable, then it means that anytime the interest rate changes, your repayment will also have to change. And you can never plan with that kind of expenditure in your life. So what Republic Bank is trying to do is that even though our conventional mortgage rate of 28% is far below the GRR rate, let alone the increases that will come on top per margins, so we still want to offer a rate far lower than the conventional rate of 28%.
Okay.
So we are calling on Ghanaians and all those who make income and those who want to access mortgage to visit our offices so that you can make inquiry, and then we can brief you about this ultra low mortgage interest, CD mortgage interest rate that we want to offer.
Once you've asked us to visit your offices, I would just like you to go straight ahead and tell us where we can find you.
Okay, so I want to give our contact numbers: 05401 09901, and the second number is 05401 09649, and you can reach out to us by myhome@republicghana.com, and then customer care at republicghana.com.
Can you please go over it?
Okay, so the contact number is 05401 09901, 05401 09901, and 05401 09649, and then email myhome@republicghana.com. Ghana is GHANA.com, and customer care at republicghana.com.
All right, so those are the numbers and the webs and the emails to send all your inquiries to if you're interested in accessing these ultra low interest CD mortgages. But you've made such a broad call for everybody, but who really qualifies?
Anybody who earns income and would like to acquire their property through mortgage. We know that it takes a long time for people to save to be able to raise enough money to build their houses. So you definitely need an assistance, a loan to be able to build your house. So anybody who is building a house and wants a loan to complete the house, that is home completion, will be able to do that. Anybody who is also buying a completed property and will want to take a loan to buy that can do that. Anyone who has home improvement, that's a dilapidated property, and then will also want to improve upon it, will be able to do that. Anybody who has a property and wants to liquidate money from it, you may even have a loan on it, but if you have considerably reduced the loan, you'll be able to liquidate money from it. So anybody who wants to venture into mortgage anew will be able to do that. Then others who have their mortgages with other banks.
Okay, other financial institutions.
Other financial institutions, like I told you, we called it a switch. We would like them to switch. If the bank makes things difficult and such that the interest rate is varying every time and you cannot plan, what we are telling you is to switch to the ultra loan. And it runs from now to January, the end of January 2024. And the beauty is that the interest rate that you'll be offered will be run through the term of the loan.
Doesn't matter what the
it doesn't matter what happens. You know, so whatever interest rate we book the loan now, you can plan with it. Because the idea is that at least maximum 40% of your income should be used to service the loan from the start.
Okay.
So if interest rate changes and your repayment will have to change whilst your salary remains the same, then you become worse off, you know, and you cannot plan.
That's a really well thought through opportunity for a lot of Ghanaians who want to build or own properties. You've spoken to us about switching from existing mortgages with other financial institutions, but what if I have a dollar mortgage?
If you have a dollar mortgage, it is one of the things we have trumpeting and advising people to desist from. If you earn in cedis, you don't have to take dollar mortgages, except you have some of your income denominated in dollars. The reason is, anytime the cedi depreciates, like what we recently witnessed, the cedi depreciated so much, about, even if it depreciates 10 or 20%, what that means is your loan balance increases in cedi terms by that margin, even though you have not physically taken money from the bank. And what that means is that your repayment accordingly increases and you become worse off. So what we are advising people to do is that come to Republic Bank. Because of the low, ultra low rate, we will want to apply it to the loan that you have and convert it from dollars into cedis so that you can match it to your income. And because the rate would not change, you can now know that having this income, I'll be able to service this loan over that term. And that I can plan with it and know that in 10 years, I can pay off. Because if you do not, and live in an economy like ours, where the fundamentals are so low, you will realize that every time the cedi will continue falling. And if it falls, you wake up the next day, it's falling by 10%, 3%, 10%. You are becoming worse off every day. And you cannot ever finish paying.
And this, because I just want to understand, and this does not matter even if you purchased that home in dollars.
No, it does not.
It doesn't matter.
You know, because the transaction aspect of the purchasing has been dealt with.
Okay.
It is now left with the loan that you have. So let's say your loan now is $10,000. So you come with, okay, $10,000 in cedis will be 110,000 Ghana. Take the loans in 110,000 Ghana now and pay. Okay. And as you pay, it comes down.
So you'll be paying the cedi equivalent. Doesn't matter what happens next year or next week. You'll
just to remain the same.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So another fantastic thing Republic Bank has done is to collaborate with our team in Kumasi, which is Love FM, because that's they're organizing the Habitat Fair. So it's the Love FM Habitat Fair in Kumasi. And I'd just like to know why Republic Bank decided to collaborate with us.
Well, that's a very good question. We are proud of Love FM, and we think that Love FM has a strong brand, just as Republic Bank Mortgage has the same brand. We have been running mortgages from the time of Home Finance Company to HFC Bank to now Republic Bank. We are the same people. And we think that looking at the far-reaching of Love FM work and activities, we will be able to collaborate with them and carry out the information needed to the northern sector of this country. The idea is that we should be able to get people in the northern sector to also come to the realization of the fact that it is possible to acquire your house, not going bit and pieces, but take a facility from a bank and buy, improve, complete, or take equity from it. So we want to use Love FM to reach out from Kumasi and its environs to Chiman, Tamale, Bolga, Boko, and all those areas for people, including Volta region, for Volta, all those areas for people to now come in. So anybody who lives in Kumasi or live in the areas I have mentioned can come to Kumasi from 6th of this month to the 8th at the Kumasi City Mall and come in, and we hope that people, it will be very good for them. The reason saying that when they come, we have a number of things to offer them. Okay, we hope that when you come, we'll be able to offer you some discounts, more. We have also invited all the vendors.
Right.
So
it's a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. So when you come, you'll be able to get all that you need. And even if you are not going to build now, you will have the opportunity to get their contacts and be able to contact them later on. And then again, we have well-trained specialists. These people are going to help to assess the loan that per your income, the loan that you will require, the type of house you can buy, the location you can buy them. So it can help you make an informed decision right after you have left. If you can, even if you cannot take the decision at the fair.
Of course.
And then you can, and there are many other things that go with mortgage that we cannot use these few minutes to explain.
Yeah,
and you will have a specialist by you to be able to explain everything in detail to help you.
I appreciate your time this morning. Franco Ponyabwa is manager mortgage business at Republic Bank, and he's just been sharing with us about their ultra low interest on CD mortgages. You just want to visit the Love FM Habitat Fair starting the 6th of this month at the Kumasi City Mall. So just get there, make all the enquiries you need, and there are other exciting offers available from Republic Bank and our other vendors. Thank you once again for joining us this morning. Well, it's Wednesday, and as usual, we bring you AM Business, proudly brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Today, we tell you how Waylead Company Limited, a real estate agency, is developing unit home apartments at its Alphabet City in Sakumono. See, I told you, we've got you covered.
Waylead Company Ghana Limited is a real estate developer with over a decade experience in the industry. They have properties situated at strategic locations such as East Legon, Lashibi and Sakumono, all within Accra. Their ongoing project, the Alphabet City, is a comprehensive development encompassing houses and unit home apartments. Sales consultant with Waylead, Stephen Siao, explains the 300 unit home apartments are to optimize the use of space and rid the client of challenges like land acquisition and registration bottlenecks.
Vista Del Mare is 4 bedrooms, house 1 story, 22 units, and location of that project is at East Airport. Currently, as we speak, Vista Del Mare is sold out. Then the next project that we undertook was Les Jardins Symphonique. Les Jardins Symphonique, it's also, we are looking at townhomes. The location of that project is at Sakumono, and you are looking at 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and 5 bedrooms. Les Jardins Symphonique currently is 95% sold out. We only have just a few of the houses remaining in there. And then right here where I stand, as you can see beside me, this is Alphabet City. And Alphabet City is basically, we are talking about apartments. We have 2 bedrooms apartments and 3 bedrooms apartments. In all, we are looking at constructing 800 units of the apartments. Over here in Alphabet City, for the 2 bedrooms, we have 3 types of them. We are looking at 95 meters square 2 bedroom. That's a 2 bedroom with 3 washrooms. Of course, you have the living and dining area together. You have the kitchen and you have a balcony as well. 95 meters square. There is also a similar one to the same design, but the size is different. You are looking at 101 meters square. 2 bedrooms with 3 washrooms. You have the living and dining together, the kitchen, and you also have the balcony. And then there is another 3 bedroom, which is 110 meters square. 2 bedrooms with 2 washrooms. You have the living area and the dining area together, and you have the balcony as well. Then we come to the 3 bedrooms. There are 3 types of the 3 bedrooms of 124 meters square. You have 3 bedrooms. Of course, the master is en suite, and you have the other 2 bedrooms sharing a washroom and visitors using that one as well. 125 meters square. And then you also have another 3 bedroom. You are looking at 147 meters square. And that is also a 3 bedroom that we have added a maid's quarter to it. And then there is the last one, which is 153 meters square. You are looking at 3 bedrooms with 4 washrooms. So it doesn't matter the size of your family. Currently, what we are doing is we are giving 11% discount on our property for those who want to do an outright purchase with us. Look no further than calling on us.
Let's take a tour of one of the 2-bedroom unit home apartments to give you a glimpse of what to expect.
You are welcome to Alphabet City once again. Now, this is the 2-bedroom I spoke of earlier. It's a 2-bedroom with 3 washrooms. All the 2 bedrooms are en suite, and this is the lovely kitchen that we have here. So this 2-bedroom is 101 meters square. We provide you with the cabinets. You have a 5-stove burner with integrated oven. We also provide you with the heat extractor. You are going to have it just as you are seeing it here. From the kitchen, we are in the dining area and also the living area. So as I explained earlier, we have the living and also the dining area being together. What we provide you is that you are going to have the fans, as you see, and you're also going to have the lighting systems, the ceilings and everything in place as beautiful just as you are seeing. But the properties do not come finished. This one, as we are seeing, is a show house. So of course you see some furniture in here. And then this is the master bedroom of this 2-bedroom. It's en suite. You have its washroom. You're going to have it as beautiful just as you are seeing it. It's spacious. You can have a queen-size bed here, and also you have your wardrobe right here in your bedroom. The fans and then the lights, everything, it's in place. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to live. Alphabet City is the place to be. Over here, it is also a 2-bedroom en suite. This is its washroom. As beautiful as you can see, you have the sink, the mirror, the toilet seat, your shower cubicle, everything is in place as beautiful as you are seeing. And from here, I am taking you to the bedroom. So this is designed for your kids. Just as you are seeing, it's a beautiful 1-bed. You can expand the bed. You can have a standard bed or even a queen-size bed that is going to fit in here. You can also have your wardrobe. The lighting systems are in place. Everything is beautiful just as you are seeing.
Musician and brand ambassador Ochiame Kwame is a resident of the Alphabet City. He shares his reasons for choosing the Alphabet City and details his experience living in a vibrant gated community.
As you can see, this place is paradise. When you wake up here, the sun even hits different. The tenants are amazing and the place is beautiful. And when I'm going to town from here, I can use the Spinters Road or use the motorway or use the beach road. Going to town from here is so easy. Now, one of the key reasons why I love living here is security, 24-hour security. You know that today, security is no longer luxury. It's a necessity because of the nature of the world today. You know, so the 24-hour security is good for my children. Every part of this 50-something acre land is a safe place to be. And then beyond the security is also the finishing, the zenesekwa, the classy nature of this place. I mean, there's nowhere else in Ghana, Accra here, that you can find a place this good, beautiful with finishing, tiles, doors, and everything is so nice, and still get it at the same price that this place goes for. So these are some of the reasons why I choose it. Another reason why I choose it is that this whole business is also made in Ghana. What I mean is that 90-something% of the people who work in this big community are all Ghanaians. You know, and so as we buy from Alphabet City, we are keeping our cousins and our brothers employed. Another reason why I love this place is that my wife loves it here. A happy wife is a happy life. You know, so wherever she loves, I love. When I wake up in the morning, the roads are done, as you can see. When I wake up in the morning, I get to jog 10 kilometers, you know, around this whole building on a well-done, beautiful place with manicured grass, and it's a beautiful experience. And as you can see, my children love to swim here. You know, I don't need to specifically put a swimming pool. There's a big swimming pool for the community. There's there's going to be a basketball pitch. There's the basketball park. There's a tennis court is just around here, and this is the holding place for children and for all the people in this community. One thing that I will also say about Alphabet City is the quality of people that live here. You know, since I've been here, I've had the opportunity to even develop businesses based on the tenants and the homeowners, because it is a beautiful experience to live here. That's why I love Alphabet City, the ABC of home sweet home.
Waylead Company Ghana Limited offers flexible payment plans tailored to suit various income streams. Don't miss the opportunity to meet them at this year's EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, where you can explore the possibilities of finding your ideal home.
Just about 15 minutes to the top of the hour, and guess who I have back with me? Benjamin Akapo. And when you see us together at this time, you know it's time to get interactive.
Benjamin too. So we're going to love to hear from you at this point in time. What are your thoughts? We've had a number of discussions. Just call the number 0302 211 691. Did you follow Bernard Mona and Murtala and some of the, I don't want to use a certain word.
And Paul Grave and, you know, and everybody you spoke to. Benjamin.
I think all of them were in a certain mode this morning.
And I honestly think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of this until something dramatic happens.
You mean the demonstrations?
Demonstrations are going to come. So the Julabid demonstrations are going international now.
There was the UK one.
There was a UK
My
one.
disappointment with Paposo and Nkrumah not uttering a word. I felt, is it some kind of narrative?
Has the government uttered a word about?
I get it. You
get it. So it's almost appears to be the
was more personal.
Yeah. But
they got there to the High Commission.
Yes, but it appears to be the posturing of government. And when I say the government, I know that the demonstrators in Ghana were not allowed to get to the Jubilee House.
Exactly.
But I know the president, his vice, other government functionaries were aware of what was happening. Could they have released a statement at least to say, we've heard your concerns, we are working at them? Could they have done something official? Do you get my point? So it appears to be a posturing this government is taking, I mean, at least from what I have observed. So the Julabid demonstration in New York would also be happening. The minority has said that they're going to still be protesting. So let's see how it goes. But we have our first caller, William from Santa Maria. Hello, William.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Let's hear you, please.
My problem is I don't know what the government wants to see to act. As of now, we haven't heard anything from the president. And then it's not a family thing. If you know you can't do it, you just have to step down. It happens everywhere. Ministers outside the country, when they can't wait, they just step down. Are they waiting for a coup to happen, or are they waiting for us to enter supermarkets with pots to go and take whatever we want? Because we are struggling. There are some countries, there are no food. And then they just go to the shop, take whatever you want. What is happening? We need response from the president.
All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, William. But I get what William is talking about. When other places you see a lot of looting in supermarkets and that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's not what we want here in Ghana. And the minority yesterday told us that is why they organized the demonstration, because they believe in a democratic process and the democratic way of doing things. And that's why I'm saying that the posturing of government is also important. You understand? And you're absolutely right when you say that Mr. Owusu Ankoma should have at least.
You know, I felt it when there was a handful, a few people, maybe some tens of them, and one of them said, "Sir, all we want to do is just hear from you, speak to us, say something to us."
Yeah.
And later the person shouted, "Shame, shame, we're disappointed." I mean, what will it take away from you to just respond to them and say, "Listen, we know things are hard. We are still working in your interest." I mean...
Yeah. Well, our next caller is John from Teshi. Hello, John. Let's hear you, please.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, John. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
I joined the demonstrators yesterday.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, John. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that I joined the demonstration yesterday. And I want to say something by reading. I want to say that there is a difficulty. We have a problem. We have a problem in Ghana. We have a big problem in Ghana. And the problem is about the political class in Ghana. As a young man, I'm trying to appreciate or understand something. Why is it that I'm asking Joy News through Joy News? Why is it that Ghanaian youth are suffering? Why is it that Ghanaian youth are suffering? And all the political class leaders are using our taxpayers' money to buy V8 and Land Cruisers in the name of comfort and security. What kind of leadership is this? I am asking a question. Why is it that the Ghanaian youth are suffering and the political class are using their taxpayers' money to live an oligarchy life in this country? We must be careful the way we are treating the Ghanaian youth. We are not helping the situation at all. Yesterday at the demonstration, Dr. Adesi and your two deputies, are you saying that this number of people on the street doesn't matter to you? You don't respect them? What kind of leaders? What kind of leader? And the media, I want the media to take up this issue. The media should seriously take up this issue and find out from the political class, why is it that their youth are suffering and all of them are using the taxpayers' money to sit in V8 and Land Cruisers in the name of comfort and security? Do they really love the country? Do they really love the country? They must be very, very careful. They must be very, very careful and must be very, very careful the way they are treating the youth. The sad thing is that the youth are copying them. The youth are copying them. If you don't have money in this country, it means that you are irresponsible. The youth are gradually copying them, stupidly, which is very bad. I don't understand. I don't understand as a Ghanaian, I don't understand as an African, why your people, your mother and your father have not fed you in the morning, but they go and buy Titinga, they go and buy Tolobifi and come and eat. Why their children have not eaten? Why is our mindset like that? Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, Benjamin.
I mean, it boggles my mind. And that is why, again, I go back to when the OccupyBoG House demonstration was held. You know, in the aftermath, on the probe that Sunday, the national youth organizer of the MPP made mention of the fact that if the demonstrators had got to the Jubilee House, there would have been someone to collect their petition. And I asked him, but you know very well that the police prevented them from getting there. So what could have been done? Which brings me back to the point when it comes to Papa Usu Nkrumah. So I feel that by and by, those in government are getting more and more extricated, detached from the masses, and it's becoming problematic. The more we do this, the more agitated people will get, and it will only devolve into something we don't want to see. But I think no one is thinking like some of us are.
So, you know, so yesterday someone said, what would it have caused? Or, yeah, what harm would have been caused if, say, the MPs got there and the BOG governor says, thank you.
And even if not the governor, okay, it takes my mind back to Mahatma Gandhi with all the negatives that sometimes may be associated with him and his peaceable way of doing some things. Like you said, what would it have taken away? Though some also say that it would like basically be saying, this is your death warrant and you're signing it by accepting it. Because these people are saying they want your head to roll.
You were just receiving a petition.
I feel he could have easily let any of the deputies take it up. And it wouldn't. You see, they feel slighted because it wasn't him and it wasn't a deputy. And so they say they are going to continue with this. I just feel some of these things can be avoided in very diplomatic ways, and we are not doing that. We don't want to be pacific. We want to, do it the hard way.
And even talking about the demonstrators not getting to the Jubilee House, if they had gotten there, how long is the Jubilee? You know, some of these things, sometimes you just wonder the mindset sometimes of our leaders. Benjamin, just imagine what would have happened if somebody from the presidency, say, walked, right? Just took a walk and met them.
From the Jubilee House and came and met them and said, you've not got here. We've seen that the police is not allowing you to get here.
But we are listening to you. We've heard.
Do you know what impact that would have had? They would not do it. Right. And these are the soft ways, in power. There's hard power, there's soft power, and there are some subtle ways, sometimes diplomatic ways of dealing with situations, tricky situations, and you get out of it. Unfortunately, our leaders are not thinking in that. It's still the old school Buga way of doing things. I'm sorry.
Do we have our last caller on, or we call it a day?
Good morning.
Right, okay. That's our last caller from 2nd D, is it?
Yes, please.
Hi, what's your name, please?
Man of Honor.
Man of Honor. That's your name on your IDs?
Aquarius is my name on ID.
Please, let's hear you.
Honor us, Man of Honor.
Yes, please. Grateful for the discussion today. It's unfortunate that my former MP did not receive petition from the demonstrators. I think our folks, our dads, need to understand that this world or Ghana belongs to the youth. And so if they are law-abiding citizens, they've gone through the procedure to be our fathers, our MPs. And since that they led us way back, and when we got to their offices to let them know the challenges and the difficulties that we are going through, and they will not accept, what else do they want us to do? To be violent? To go and get through a lot of evil things for them to reason up? That's what they are looking for. It is very, very unfortunate. I know he wouldn't have done that. Maybe the others are coming from either top ranks or somewhere else. But to me, I think it is unfortunate.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, and that will be it for our interactive session with you. Thank you to all of you who called to share your thoughts. But Benjamin, what a day it has been. We've got our fingers crossed. The president is speaking at an event today. I hope he addresses the concerns, and it's not the regular rhetoric. I know that it may not be a function necessarily to address these concerns raised by Ghanaians living here and even abroad, but I just pray that he will take the opportunity and say something different to the people, because
one thing I've noticed, our president especially likes to talk about happenings in other jurisdictions, like George Floyd and all of those. But when the Bwipe situation happened, crucial things happened. You know, in the US and other places, a president can cancel his vacation and all of that because an incident has happened requiring. The other day, President Biden joined the United Auto Workers. First time. We claim we are emulating these democracies. He flew to Michigan to join them. Demonstrators.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But on that note, we leave you with something to think about. But God willing, we are back again tomorrow with another exciting show, a show that puts you at the heart of everything that we discuss. Thank you so much for making time to join Benjamin and I. But don't forget, we're still very interactive on Facebook. We are Joy News on TV. But up next is our current affairs show, News Desk. Do stay.